Excuse me. All right. Well, YouTube is up and running. The Hangout's live. The show, we're a little bit late starting tonight. Supposed to have RJ Hadley in. He was going to be here at 7, and he hasn't arrived yet. So I've delayed the start of the radio show. Give him a couple of minutes, see what happens. But of course, if he isn't here, then if he shows up, I'll go to a break and go get him in, and then we'll pick up where we left off.
Regroup, if you will.
Yeah, that's right.
Sounds like a plan.
Man, I got, well, I'll start the show out with this, but man, I got all kind of fucked up Saturday night. Like, sloppy drunk.
Like rare form, Al?
Oh, yeah, it was bad.
Really?
I didn't even make it home. I ended up spending the night on Smitty's couch, and then all day Sunday on his couch as well. It was pretty bad.
Nice.
What was the occasion?
It was Steven's birthday.
Was that for Smitty's birthday? Okay.
And was Smitty driving? Because that would be irony.
That would be irony.
No, Uber.
Nice.
Uber. I ended up either 2 or 3 Guinness glasses richer.
Sweet.
Oh.
Yeah. I did pay for them. They at the Marley House, they sell them to me for $2 a glass, so that's nice.
Oh, okay.
I'm supposed to be limited to 1 per visit, but
Yeah,
So you
it
tip
was a
the
birthday.
waitress. You
Ended
tip
up-
the waitress an extra $2, and she doesn't notice you stealing them.
yeah, that's right.
Pretty much how it rolls. Cool.
Although how they missed it is beyond me, because holy shit, I was drunk coming out of there. And then we went from there to trackside and got even more drunk. Playing darts too. That's a dangerous
Oh,
combination.
fudge.
Yeah. All right, we'll go live in like 20 seconds.
Okay.
I thought we were live. Sorry.
Well, we're on YouTube. We'll go
On the
live on the
YouTubes.
radio in about 20 seconds.
Gotcha. We need multiple countdowns and
10.
Yeah. All right, here we go. In 3, 2. All right, a little bit late start tonight. Supposed to have RJ Hadley in the studio. He was going to be here at 7, and he hasn't shown up, and I haven't heard from him. So we'll consider RJ a no-show for this evening. If he does happen to show up, we'll just take a quick break, and I'll bring him in. But we're here, Tuesday, Tech Talk. I'm Alex, your host. In the Hangouts, I have 2 co-hosts, my 2 friends, Danielle up in Minnesota. Hi, Danny.
Hello. Hi there.
And Big Keith over in Lawrenceville.
how's it going, eh?
Yeah, you Canuck. And Keith's missus, who really doesn't want to be on camera, I think.
She's not appropriately dressed.
Okay, there she is.
There, I just got her head.
Yeah. All right, so if RJ shows up, we'll take a quick break, and we will. I'll go let him in, and we'll jump to that interview. In the meantime, I guess we'll talk about. Oh, dude, I went. It was Steven's birthday last week, and
Tuesday.
yeah, his birthday was Tuesday. We went out on Saturday night. We went to first of all, we went to the Kimball House, which is this Ponzi-ass restaurant, which is. First of all, I don't recognize hardly anything on the menu. Secondly, it's absolute bullshit because they had so you could order I'll call it a crispy duck. They call it an oven roasted duck. Idiots. $120 for a duck.
What?
Yeah. I can go to a excellent Chinese restaurant, get a crispy Peking duck for $40. And they want $120 for their duck. Yeah, okay. And $85. Oh, he's here. All right, guys, talk among yourselves real quick. Let me go get RJ.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Sure. We got this.
So I bought a duck one time from Kroger. Figured I'd go with the duck theme.
So this duck walks into a bar. Dude, why am I looking at your ear? That's just
I
weird.
stole a duck.
I don't know. Am I sideways now all of a
You
sudden?
are sideways.
How How did
Donald Duck once from the
how did that happen?
I got an ear and an eyeball.
I don't know how to switch myself to right way,
Um,
sideways, and I don't know. I wish we knew someone that knew technology.
I know, right? We should find a tech radio show to call into. Turn your iPad sideways. Just rotate your iPad. Now I've got the top of your head. It's right side up.
Okay, I'm just gonna leave it this way then.
There we go. I mean, I only have the top of your
Why,
head.
why mess with it?
because you turned it.
But yeah, so I put this duck on my rotisserie. I actually did have a duck, and I put it on my rotisserie, and I'm letting it go, and I'm thinking, oh, this is gonna be awesome because I've done all sorts of things on the rotisserie, and I looked away for what I swear was probably
Oh, God.
30 seconds, but it was probably more like a couple of minutes. And I looked back, and there's this billowing smoke coming out of my grill. And I'd had a moment of brain fart where I just didn't realize that duck was much greasier.
Super greasy, yes.
Yeah, and so it had flamed up something
Duck
fierce.
flambe.
Not quite close.
Oh yeah, but it turned out good. I just peeled
Put
off
on
the
your
skin and everything
headphones.
was good. It was
You
just
cannot hear yourself, then
you
nobody else
couldn't
can.
have the skin at all.
That's
So it was
hysterical.
not crispy as Alex would have liked.
Do you want,
It was more charred.
Bottle of water. Okay.
So
It was like steamed in skin duck.
yes, it was. So,
All right, they're about to drop the puck on the Red Wings game.
oh, how's that series going? I'm a
We
bad
are down
hockey fan.
2-1, but we're at home, so
Okay.
like we won the last game at home. And I just ate some octopus a little while ago, so we're all right. We got this.
Oh yeah, I've got some in a can in my cupboard I could eat. Oh wait, you're playing St. Louis though.
No, we're not. We're playing Tampa.
Okay. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Sorry about that.
Hi there. That's okay. We chatted amongst ourselves.
Okay.
We talked of duck.
All right. So in the studio with us, and we're live on the air, and we stream to YouTube, RJ. I have our current tax commissioner and candidate for commission chairman, RJ Hadley. RJ, get up close to the mic. Oh, now I'm not hearing anything. Try now.
Hello?
Okay, there we
Hey,
go.
there we go.
Excellent.
Okay, got it.
And in the Hangouts here, I have two co-hosts, Danielle, who's up in Minnesota,
Hello?
Hi, RJ.
and Keith, who's over in Lawrenceville.
How's it going, eh?
How you doing?
He is Canadian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we've got listeners on listening through the radio app, and Bella there. Huh, that's funny. All right, so I thank you first of all for coming in.
Oh,
I
thank you
appreciate
guys
it.
for having me.
I guess let's take a minute and just introduce yourself to the listeners
Sure.
and let them know a little bit about you and
Okay.
why we're here today.
Well, again, I'll say hello to Just for Fun listeners. Appreciate this opportunity. My name is RJ Hadley, and I currently serve as Rockdale's tax commissioner, and ending that term into the end of this year. And we've had a pretty good year there. I want to take it higher. We've had national awards and state awards. We've had innovations in that office, introduced the first electric charger to the county, and wanting to take that attitude of moving forward, take it to a higher level as your next Rockdale County chairman.
Now, you have I've looked up and read about 3 campaign policy initiatives that you have. One of them being Renewable Rockdale,
Yes.
which would tie into bringing in the charging station. Now, where is the charging station, and what vehicles does it currently support?
The charging station is located at the tax office, and we get all kinds of vehicles. I have a vehicle that's a Kia Soul, but mostly what we have there are Nissan Leafs
Okay.
that come in. I see a lot of different plates, mostly Rockdale and Newton,
Yes.
and it's been interesting to watch and see people charge, and then they'll walk into Old Town and buy a little bit of lunch or do something like that, and that's the idea, and it's where we're headed.
Yes.
And I like to see things that show that Rockdale is not only just moving with the curve, but ahead of it.
Okay. I think it's great. I mean, I'm not sure that plug-in electrics are actually the future. I think, I think hydrogen fuel cell vehicles will probably be the future just because of the infrastructure and the convenience and the speed of filling and things like that.
Well,
but we're a long way away from there.
Yes, and we'll mark the day, and then we'll come back later and say, you know what, RJ, maybe you were onto something, because I believe that as the technology with batteries is improving exponentially, and right now I get about 80 to 90 miles on a charge.
Right.
But as Tesla and Chevy's coming out with the Chevy Bolt, which will do 200 miles.
Right. Right. I'm gonna have to apologize for your microphone there, because I think Scott has this. Scott has this set for one of the guys on the morning show who's remarkably loud.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm just trying to make a few settings quickly while we go.
That's fine. Well,
so sorry about that.
I can ramp it up.
Okay.
So Renewable Rockdale does include that part in terms of talking about alternative energy and green energy. As when we look at what's happening with millennials and 1.5 million. And the largest part of our workforce now, these are the kind of things that they like. These are the kind of communities that are attractive to that market. And certainly we have a large senior population as well. So that also helps in terms of reducing cost, which everybody wants to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. What about plans? So beyond individuals, right? You have an electric car. It's possible with the Tesla Model 3. Possible I'll have an electric car at some point.
Yeah.
What about on a grander scale?
Yeah.
What about the county?
Again, that is part of what can be done here in terms of expanding our solar use, introducing use of wind. And one of the things that I received recognition for, because the other part of being green is also reducing, as well. And we were able to cut our paper use in half in our office by finding innovative ways to reduce, reuse, and recycle in that way.
Yeah.
So it's part of a larger thing that also includes connecting our walking trails and bike trails, because again, this makes the county attractive as a forward-thinking, forward-moving county. We got a lot of people that are coming in from New York, California, Chicago, retired professionals and that type of thing, and they've come here certainly for some reason, but they also want to see that things are happening in the county that they've chosen to move to, and the people who have been here a long time, who are the bedrock of the county. They also want to know that, look, I mean, we are part of Metro Atlanta, whether you like it or not, and they also want nice things. They want to have a community that they can feel like, okay, we are a part of all of this growth and change around us.
Well, let's, if you want to talk about this, you probably do. I mean, it's getting down to the wire for the election now. Up until now, people have been a little bit, they haven't been overly forthcoming with their plans, policy initiatives.
And
I notice you have yours spelled out.
Yes, sir.
And I mentioned that to you on the phone. I said,
Yes.
I think you're the only candidate that actually has your initiative spelled out.
When I came out and people said, okay, RJ, we've seen what you've done over the years, and we want to know what it is that you intend to do. And I said, okay, let's not make it broad generalities. I'm going to actually put out a 90-day plan, what I have in mind for the first 90 days in office that relate to small business, job creation, and what are those steps going to be? And I've laid that out on my website. And as far as I can see, I'm the only chairman's candidate that has put plans out. The way that we have...
It's not only as far as you can see. And I think it's as far as any of us can see.
The way that we have, and this goes back to my days as chief of staff as well. When I got into office and became chief of staff for Rockdale County, within 2 months, I was able to secure a federal grant for $3 million, which allowed our neighborhood stabilization program, which is still in effect today.
Yes.
And that's done through, you have to do deliberate planning. And it's about saying, where are we going? Here's a plan, and how are we going to do it, so that residents can hold you accountable, okay, and that there can be back and forth. We're going to move forward, but we have to do it together. It's got to be collaborative and partnering with a plan.
Yeah. Now you actually have quite a resume. Rockdale County Chief of Staff. You ran for state senate. You're
U.S. Senate, actually.
U.S. Senate.
Yep.
You finalist for Tax Commissioner of the Year. Now, yeah, I'm not a big fan of taxes, but that's quite an achievement. And you obviously have experience working with people beyond the county level. You've worked at the state level. You've dealt with the federal government and federal regulations. So you're bringing a lot of experience to the position of chairman.
What I've been able to do in my 10 years, I moved in Rockdale County with my family in 2006. And was able to get involved with the local party and also with the state party at an early stage, and I eventually became one of the vice chair of the state Democratic Party. It's helped me to see so much of Georgia, and to see things that work, see things that maybe don't work as well, and sort of bring those ideas back to Rockdale County. My first race, as you mentioned, my first political race, not to overshoot a little bit, was to be U.S. Senate, to run for U.S. Senate.
Right.
And people thought, oh wow, this is your first race, but I hit probably 122 counties of the 159 counties that we have, and those are relationships that I still have and have been very valuable, and I think they will be valuable because again, you cannot live in this society and economy that we have. You can't live in an island. You have to be reaching out all the time to other counties, other regions. And I'm a bit of a broken record on it, but to say Rockdale County is part of Metro Atlanta. We are the eastern gateway, like it or not, to Atlanta.
Now, I want to expand. I want to talk about your other two policy initiatives here also, but as far as Rockdale being part of Metro Atlanta, I agree wholeheartedly. However, what we do have is a severe transportation shortfall.
Yes.
To be part of Metro Atlanta, and this is one thing that outside investment looks towards: our infrastructure, our transportation, and of course our employment base.
Right.
What is there? Do you have any ideas to help with transportation?
So transit and transportation definitely has been on everybody's mind. And even as I go around and talk to people with the changes that we've had in Rockdale County, it doesn't necessarily have to mean that we have to have buses running all over our streets,
right? Which
people have concern about. Sometimes it could just be as simple as creating sidewalks that make sense.
Yes.
Sidewalks that's actually transit.
Yeah.
It's not as attractive as some sort of magnetic lev train or something like that.
Yeah, we all need to walk, though.
Yeah, walking.
We could all do with it.
Again, part of my Renewable Rockdale is we have a trail system, but I'd like to be able to push that further and connect the trails throughout the county and to other trail networks.
Now we already connect to DeKalb.
Yes.
Oh no, but I don't want to digress there. I'm sorry.
But so getting back to what you were saying, yes, transportation is going to have to be a conversation that we will talk about because our citizens are going to say we need various ways to be able to get around and connect to the jobs, right? And I want to get them here, but we also have to be able to connect to Atlanta. So that's a conversation. Is it light transit? Is it some sort of shuttle bus to connect to some other systems?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'd like to see light rail, but that's me, because I live in Conyers, I work in Marietta, and
yes.
While there are options right now, I think I can drive to the sheriff's department and pick up a bus there. which will take me downtown, and then on to the Cobb County Transit, which will take me up into Marietta. But I'm looking at 2.5 hours each way that way. With a train, I could theoretically have a virtually a straight-through shot.
Right. So residents that are in your situation, that's something that they'll be all over. But you know, you have a lot of residents that look at it, they're not in that situation.
Yeah, that's right.
And you know, they're worried about what that's going to open the community up to. And I was at a recent forum with some of our state level candidates who were having that discussion. And one of the things that I said is that it still has to be a conversation on the local level, because you can do all you want at the Gold Dome, but if the people here really aren't together on it.
That's right.
Okay. So when people say, well, how are we going to move forward on these issues? Okay. What we've seen, and this predates me as well, but I know that I've seen over the last 8 years, I've just seen more division. You know, things that divide us. I'm in the city, you're in the county. I'm black, you're white. I've been here forever. You're a transplant just coming in here. These are all things that divide us, and they don't allow us to talk about key issues that are happening.
Right. I agree.
And so my background and the results that, you know, because I'm a results-driven person, that's come about through coming together, building bridges, collaboration. Okay, we want to have this thing right here. Let's have a conversation about it. You know, everybody realizes we can't have it all. You have 87,000 people. It's going to be absolutely impossible to please everybody.
Right.
But does that mean we do nothing? We just maintain the status quo? No. That means these are tough issues. Let's decide we have to pick one way, and then good leadership is saying, okay, guys, we've heard it out. Let's go left.
Yeah, and you know, that's where the person in charge has to be able to make decisions and hopefully prioritize and pick what they believe are the right direction for the county. Let's touch on the divisiveness issue, which a lot of it relates to public safety. You have an initiative, Public Safety First. Right. Tell us about that, and let me just throw in my opinion right now. I think our public safety issues are actually more of a perception problem. I think people perceive crime to be far worse in Rockdale than it really is.
I believe, and I don't disagree with that, because if I remember I was talking to a woman who was saying, oh, I'm seeing all these cop cars around and I don't feel safe. Well, ma'am, they've increased patrols in your area so that you do feel safe.
Yeah.
Now you could go a couple doors down and someone said, I'm seeing more patrol cars and I feel safe. So it's the overall perception. We have the same thing with the schools. You know, oh, the schools are so terrible. But if you really sat down and looked at the numbers of different things, I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'm not saying that, you know, as in anything, you can't get better at it. But say public safety schools, no. I mean, in Rockdale County, I think there are a lot of things that we can point to that are good things. What I was saying with Public Safety First is to recognize that over 2/3 of our budget is spent on public safety. And so I think as a government and as a government structure, we should be thinking about public safety first to know what we want to hear from the fire chief, we want to hear from the sheriff, hear from the chief of police, and know what the city of Conyers is doing for public safety, not just at the top level, but also directors should know as well and be aware of, because when it comes budgeting time and the sheriff saying, well, look, I need X, well, it won't be a shock because we've been communicating all along.
Yes.
To know, okay, this is why I need 40 patrol cars.
Yeah.
This is what's going on. And when a lot of times we communicate at budgeting time, we communicate at crisis time.
Right.
Those two times are really not the best time, right? Because at budget time, I'm kind of trying to just protect my piece of the puzzle.
Yes.
At crisis time, I'm in a crisis.
That's right.
So everything gets overblown, and there's a lot of emotion involved. So to me, public safety first is about, again, collaborating, opening doors. Let's, as we're going along throughout the year, make sure that there are regular touch points where we're touching public safety, and that we know what's going on with fire, we know what's going on with 911, we know what's going on with our sheriff, and even at the county level that we realize, what is the chief facing over in the city as well.
Yes. Yeah, because I mean, ultimately, we all have to work together. The city of Conyers is part of Rockdale County. and all departments should be able to work together and communicate together.
Right.
You strike me as the kind of man that has good relationships with the other departments in the county.
Yes, from my chief of staff days, and it really even before as a citizen, I've always tried to have those relationships, and it's continued on in my role as tax commissioner. Because I go in, I believe that each director, each department, that they're trying to do the best job that they can for the county.
Sure they are. Oh, yeah.
What I've found in my own office is, and I'll say all the time, every time there's an award or some sort of recognition, I give it all to the staff. Okay, these are the people that are there. These are the, I'm the elected official. I'm given 4 years, and if the voters see fit, they'll give me 4 more years. But as I say, the employees are the ones that they are the constant factor. And I think that morale is probably not as high as it should be or could be. I know for sure that pay isn't where it should or could be.
That's across the board in the county, unfortunately.
It causes us to then continue to be a training ground, and then as soon as opportunities come from other counties,
absolutely, yeah. I know the sheriff's department faces that problem in a big way. Well, that will probably tie into your other policy initiative. Then You're Hired. That now I know nothing about it.
Okay.
Tell me about You're Hired.
You're Hired is really looking at small business in this county. Now, we hear a lot in the paper about when large companies come in and there's 100 jobs, 200 jobs, and that kind of thing, and that makes great media. But the truth is, and as a guy that works with the numbers on tax base, about 75% or more of our commercial activity comes from small business. And as I go around and talk to these guys, I'm finding that they're saying there's a lot of hoops that they have to jump through. There's a lot of things that is delaying them getting their business going. And what I want to do between city and county.
Do you mean regulatory burdens?
Regulatory burdens, permits, licensing, following the code that's required, signage, all those kind of things. And what I've wanted to do, and it's mentioned in my 90-day plan at rjhadley.com, is to actually have a summit where we bring leaders together around the city, county, schools, chamber, and let's sit down and say, okay, small business, bring small business people in. I've been holding some small business workshops. What are the things that we can do to get on the same page, for one thing? Because I don't want to see a guy that's in the city and somehow he's got really a better situation or a worse situation in the county. We should, again, second smallest county in the state by geography. One city. So to me, there's no reason why we shouldn't be arm in arm on everything.
Yeah, I think we should be. Yeah.
So I just want to see small business. One of the things I'm talking about in my 90-day plan is creating a small business liaison position, which would give people who come at one person. Eventually, I'd like to see an office, which would be one location that they could come, and we would be able to know sort of where the pain is. But one location they could come and get and navigate through the process.
Have all their needs serviced in one location,
area, right?
Yeah.
Because this makes it easy. Okay, I know where I got to go to the office because that's what I want to get myself set up. If there's issues, I'll go to the office. If there's successes, I'll go to the office. So as leaders, we'll be able to go to the small business office and say, okay, what's happening out there? Where's it working? Where's it not? And we can respond a lot faster. The other thing that I would like to see is, okay, there's nothing wrong with industrial warehouses, manufacturing, and these are the kind of things that this is what we have known to do.
It's been the mainstay of our community.
Okay,
yeah,
that's fine. But again, when you look at, and I got to bring millennials up again because they are the largest part of the workforce, these aren't the types of jobs that they're necessarily looking at. They're
looking into tech
type
and
of jobs. Yeah. We've got a film industry here, and we should be talking about digital production. Sure, film it here, and what can we do after post-production? We could have those skills here, and begin to get people have those skills. Bioscience, if we're going to have Shire over here, So some people say, well, let's not talk about those types of jobs because that's not the type of jobs that people are trained for.
Which is, I mean, that's part of the issue, yes, but it's the type of jobs that the future of the county is going to be looking for.
Exactly, and that's where yes, okay. I'm not saying that right now you're ready for it, but what we need to know is maybe Amazon or Google won't move here to Rockdale County, but I sure would like them to know that they can get skills from Rockdale County.
Yeah.
We've got Rockdale Career Academy, which is a great jewel that we have. If we can prepare our kids, prepare our adults, I'd rather have them be able to then use those same skills that we have provided, once again, becoming a training ground for other communities. Let's look at the training for ourselves.
I agree. I mean, there's so many areas that would touch on, starting with, I believe, the necessity of vocational classes in high school. I think is absolutely imperative, especially in this technological age. But I mean, obviously, that's a whole different subject right there.
But
sorry, go ahead.
I just want to say, again, the Rockdale Career Academy is addressing that need.
Okay.
In terms of vocational training and recognizing that four-year college is not necessarily a route for everyone.
That's right.
And so we have a whole academy that's dedicated to it. Again, this is a plus. People should recognize this as a jewel that we have in our community.
Yeah. Now, what age groups is that open to?
Well, okay, right. It doesn't benefit necessarily the adult.
Okay.
Okay. But that idea, like we have. Well, it was DeKalb Technical, but I think it's Georgia Piedmont, whatever DeKalb Technical was. But they do offer some adult training, but it's in manufacturing, forklift operator and things like that.
Right.
Again, nothing against the forklift operators out there. I don't want to malign your listeners or anything. I'm just saying we have to think about those jobs that are out there in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Also, under my 90-day plan for small business and job development, it's something that's it's not a big sizzle to it, but it makes a difference, which is our streets. We need to have a unified effort to agree that we've got to clean up our streets. If you just look at getting off of 20.
Off at 130 at Georgia 20 or 138, and I was about to say that bridge needs some serious widening.
Well,
but that's a DOT project, though. How would you?
You can work with your state delegation.
Okay.
You can work with relationships that you have. We know that the money was there's money there, but a lot of the transportation projects are north of Atlanta, as we've been hearing.
Yeah, it's a huge bottleneck. We've got that whole industrial park with such limited access just because of that one bottleneck. They've done the redesign they did. If you're traveling south, is great. If you're coming headed south and going, I think west, on 20, then that new redesign with the 2 extra lanes merging onto the freeway worked out great. For anybody traveling north and trying to make that left turn, that's trouble.
Yeah.
And so for the industrial park on the other side, it's not a huge issue, except for their vehicles coming off of the freeway trying to get back.
So those projects, yes, but even on a lower level, I'm just talking about as well cleaning up the litter on our streets.
Just keeping the place clean, sure.
Because if you want a business to come and invest in your community and they come to check it out and they look around, and it doesn't look like we're investing in our own community.
Yeah, now I've never even seen a street sweeper truck or anything like that. How have we dealt with showing my ignorance. How have we dealt with that?
Well,
because the place isn't filled. It's pretty clean, really. But
it's when you look at the main Iris Drive, Dogwood Drive, Sigmund Road, and those type of things. And if you look and see, there's no cohesive signage to kind of direct you to say you're here, you've arrived somewhere. I mean, we've got that rock. If you drive in,
as you're driving in,
there's a big rock over there that says "Welcome to Rockdale."
Welcome to Rockdale, yeah.
But there's nothing to say, okay, I've come somewhere, I've been somewhere. Have some signage direct me to
City Hall or the sign for the horse park. But obvious signs. You're absolutely thinking about it. You're absolutely right. There's nothing.
Nothing to say. I'm here. I'm in Rockdale County.
Yeah. There's not even a sign to say Starbucks this way.
No. No. And these are vital signs.
There, see? They're not coming to Rockdale unless they know we have Starbucks.
Exactly.
They need a Rockdale County. Alex lives here.
Yeah, no, they don't need that.
Yeah, we need signs that direct them right to Just for Fun Radio.
That's right.
Right off I-20. But in all seriousness, that matters. It's a sense. It's giving you a sense of place.
Yes.
That you've arrived somewhere and that it's worth getting off. You can easily zip through our 4 exits on I-20 and just not really know that you've come through anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right. And thinking about it, I don't think there's no obvious sign even for the horse park, Georgia International Horse Park.
There's some signage here and there, but it's nothing that again is a cohesive design-oriented sign to let you know you've arrived and there's somewhere to go. Interesting.
I mean, you got some, what I think, some good ideas, some good plans.
Well, thank you. I mean, I'm feeling that people are ready for a change, and so that's what I'm been relying on and pushing on in my campaign. We've opened up our office. We were the first one to open up our office. I'm over 1264 Parker Road. They'll see the Team RJ office, and we've been there for 3 months now, reaching out to voters, and now we've come down to early voting begins May 2nd. So the push is on, and we've gotten signs out there like everybody else. We've gotten some billboards up and different things like that. But now is the time we really have to take it to the ground and start knocking on doors. May 24th is the election, and it's kind of an odd date. People aren't clued into it.
Yeah.
They're thinking about Memorial Day holiday, and they're thinking about the presidential election.
Yes.
And that's kind of grabbing all the attention, and they're thinking, yeah, we'll deal with this in November, but we're saying, no, I need you to deal with something on May 24th.
Yeah, and it's critical as well because these races are there's no Republican challenger, so your race will be decided May 24th.
Yeah, I believe it will be.
So there's no second chance for voters either. This is it. Once there's there won't be a November. Well, we'll be on the ballot in November, but they will be obviously the presumptive winner then.
And there'll be some limited opportunities. I know that NAACP is holding a forum on May 5th. I think there's a new group in town that they're holding a forum at the VFW this Saturday at 6 o'clock, I believe.
We have the debates at the VFW Saturday evening.
Saturday evening, yes, something like that. So when people ask, "Oh, what are the chances that we're going to get to see you guys?" It's a short period of time, and there's not much time. So I'm just encouraging people to get.
Yeah, we're encouraging people to come out to the debates. I'll be there moderating and asking questions along with 2 other people. Michael Myers and Connie Alsobrook will be there, and I believe Michael Madsen from Just for Fun is going to be there asking some questions as well.
Okay.
And we're trying to encourage people to come out. I know it's a Saturday evening, and it's I think it's 5:30. Okay. They're going to start. But I would love to see as many members of the community out there as possible, because this is a perfect opportunity for them to ask the questions they want to hear.
Right.
Of course we've come up with questions, but I believe we're going to let people come in and write out a question and be able to ask it and have their concerns answered as well.
It's going to be vital. It's going to be vital at this time with all that's going on. If you look at what Newton's doing and Henry County's doing and things are happening, and so Rockdale has to step up, get involved. Don't just go to your job, come back home, and forget about your home county. We need all voices in, all hands in, and we need leadership that's going to be open to that.
Yeah, and I like that you're thinking beyond 4 years. You're not just thinking about your 4 years. You're thinking about the future of the county and what. I happen to agree with you. I think a good technologically educated workforce is imperative for the future. We really can't grow without that. And
at the same time, we can't forget that seniors are growing part of our population as well. They need affordable housing. They need to be able to get around as well. So I don't want people to think that it's a community that's saying, well, we're only just going to worry about millennials and kick the rest of the curb. I think one can feed on the other.
Let me ask you about this then before we wrap up. Housing for for the elderly and future housing growth or development. What do you envision in the county? Are you thinking more single family homes? Are you thinking? I've always liked mixed use development like 17th Street, Atlantic Station. I would love to see something like that come to the city or into the county with somewhere where you can live, work, shop, and have fun at the same time.
And yes, leaders are thinking about that. There have been plans about those types of things. We have that 4A International. It's 100 acres.
Yes.
And that's supposed to begin, which is going to be a mixed use situation. I was actually chief operating officer of a nonprofit before I became tax commissioner, and we were focused on affordable senior housing.
Okay.
And trying to look at areas where this was going to be more single units, one level. Look at maybe where a development has failed or something, and try to repurpose those for affordable housing. I mean,
could the $3 million grant, could that have helped with that? Would that even be an option with a federal grant?
Not that grant.
Okay.
But
there are grants available?
There are grants. There are grants at the federal level, but more importantly at the state level, and that's what we were working with the Department of Community Affairs to be able to get those kind of funding dollars. There's other grants that are available on the federal level. They tend to be more rural grants, and we're not actually a rural community for that type of thing. So that's something where we would look to partner locally with businesses, perhaps, but also to tie in with state fund monies through the Department of Community Affairs.
Well, the nice thing is you appear to know where the grant money is available. When it's available, and that's a good start. Let's put it that way, because I wouldn't have a clue what the grants were. I honestly wouldn't have a clue. But that's where experience comes in, and this is what you've been doing now. Well, now for the last 4 years as the tax commissioner. And how long were you the chief of staff in Rockdale County? Was it 4 years?
No, I was chief of staff for less than a year.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I was there for 10 months and just decided to actually transition out of that, and that's when I decided to make my run for U.S. Senate at that time. But I had a good time with the county, and just felt that it was time to move on to something else.
Excellent. Well, I've enjoyed this. I really appreciate you coming in. I've had a couple of messages. Let me tell you. Somebody said. Somebody says you have your act together. So that's nice. I mean, there's a. And someone else. He said somebody's asking if we'll see you at the debate. We've already answered that question. So yeah, RJ will be at the debate Saturday night. Now in the chairman's race, it's going to be you and Oz. I believe the chairman has. I don't know if he has a prior engagement or what's going on, but he won't be taking part in the debate Saturday. So there'll be plenty of opportunity for people to ask your questions and for you to get your message out there.
To talk to the voters.
And you have specific policy issues and ideas that you can throw out there.
Well, I look forward to it, and I want to thank you, Just for Fun, and your co-host for having me on board and having this forum for us to come out and share ideas with the voters. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome. We appreciate it. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. I will see RJ out, and you can go to rjhadley.com.
rjhadley.com.
And take a look at his campaign and his initiatives right there.
You'll be able to find my Facebook, my Twitter, and also our headquarters at 1264 Parker Road.
Excellent. Thank you, RJ. We appreciate it. We'll be back after this break. Okay, so what I do now, the radio app goes on to some commercials and music.
Okay.
YouTube stays live while we're on, and I'll have a few minutes. We can go up. We'll say our goodbyes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate this. Nice having us.
Guys, I'll be back down in a minute, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, my show is actually Tech Talk.
Wait, so is he running against Oz, or is Oz running against him? Like, are they running for the same thing?
I don't know.
I didn't get that till the very end. I think he said chairman, right? That's what Oz is running for.
That's the tax commissioner.
Yes. Yeah, but sorry, I'm having a side conversation with Pamela. Yes, that's the tax commissioner currently, but he's running for chairman,
I think he's running for the chairman of.
Rockdale County.
Rockdale County.
That's different than the tax commissioner.
Correct. But
So they're not running against each other.
Danielle's asking
If
if
he's running against Oz.
he's running against Oz for chairman of Rockdale County.
Because I think that's what Oz is running for, right?
I don't know.
That's
I'm going to
wrong.
throw that on Google real quick.
Yeah, we might want to Google that. Ask Jeeves.
Yeah. Wait, what is it? I'm going to Alta Vista it.
Yes. Yahoo!
Rockdale County Post 1 Commissioner Oz Nesbitt to run for County Commission Chairman. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Oh, so we've had a little bit of
Little controversy.
competition.
Yeah.
So the tax commissioner is now running for chairman.
It seems so.
Yes, as is Post 1. Wait. Post 1
Maybe-
Commissioner.
Maybe there are different posts in
There
there.
There's
There's
Post
one
1 and
for each
Post 2.
district.
So maybe one of them's running for one post and one of them's for, I don't know.
No, they're both.
I don't know how this works. I'm Canadian.
We have 5.
They're both running for commissioner. That's why we have to have elections.
Hmm.
Because it's not like in Canada where you just say, "Oh, I'll be that."
We have
Did you do it all
elections
friendly-like?
too.
No, so they must be running against each other.
I will say that the whole presidential nomination election thing is so very strange to me.
It's pretty bizarre.
Because in Canada, it's the parliamentary system, and you just basically they say, okay, here's my local guy, he's got a provincial guy, he's got a federal guy, and if enough local guys get voted, then the federal guy wins. And it's got nothing to do. You don't actually vote for our prime minister.
Oh,
Yeah, you
Okay.
vote for your local guy. So, but enough about Alex, because
right, because he'll be back in a second.
Oh wait, hi.
Oh,
Yeah. I like RJ. I've only met him a couple of times.
is he running against Oz?
He is running against Oz.
Okay.
It's RJ,
He
Oz
Alta
Nesbitt.
Vista'd that shit.
Yeah, it's RJ, Oz Nesbitt, and Richard Odin, who are the three in the race for chairman.
Okay, and Odin is the one that never shows up for anything.
That's correct.
Okay.
Richard Odin is the Invisible Man. Nobody,
Right.
I like I say, in his tenure as chairman, I've spoken to him once, and never seen him ever. Never seen him ever. I've met RJ I think 3 times now. Once at the tax office. I was there getting my tag early in the morning, and he just came in to say hi to everybody, and this was long before the campaign started. So yeah, the tax commissioner just came into the tag office to shake hands, and
That's awesome.
I complained a little bit about the automated tag machine that charges you $1 fee.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Gwinnett has
is what
the
it
same
is.
thing. They call it a convenience fee.
Yes, yeah. What's convenient about that? I'm at the tag office. I already
like-
came here.
Well, no, we have a convenience fee for paying online.
Yeah, you know, a lot of.
And I'm like,
yeah,
wait
lot-
a minute. If I pay online, you don't have to pay a person to take my check.
That's right. Now, in RJ's defense, he said all I did was have them put the machine in. It's the state that charges that fee, so the county doesn't even get that fee. So it's even worse. It's the state ripping us
Well,
off.
then on your website, I would put that right out there. This is a state fee that you're not getting.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah,
It's not like I wasn't going to do any research before going and buying my car
Yeah,
tag. You know?
It's
That's
just
that
one
box
of those
you click
things that,
past.
like,
I just
I
walk
want to
in.
pay online, and it costs me $3.75 convenience fee.
Yeah, that's right. I go in there. There's maybe 5 people in line. I see the machine, so I walk up. I start going through the process. Then at the very end, when it wants my card, it says, "Oh, there's a convenience
Oh,
fee." And I'm like,
right.
"Okay, well, I'm not going to do that. Just out of principle and spite right now."
And you know what it is? It's because the credit card companies charge them
A processing fee.
a processing fee.
Yeah.
So they say, "Well, I'm going to charge you," but they're
Yeah,
legally
now they
not.
could.
They're
Yeah, they
legally
could
not
be.
able to increase their fee, but due to their agreement with the credit card companies, they're not
Yeah, they can
allowed
call it convenience fee.
to.
Now, I
Yeah,
suppose I should be lucky they're not charging the entire 3 or 5%, processing fee
Right.
that Visa charges onto them.
or
At least it's
American
just
Express 7.
Is it 7%?
Yeah.
Shit.
Amex is high, yeah.
So,
American
yeah, I
Express
mean,
are crazy.
yeah, I imagine there are fewer things I could complain about in life when I'm at the tag office. So yeah.
Wait, so did you do it? Did you pay the $1 and not go back through the line?
No, I got in line and went up to the counter and paid no fee.
My time is not worth $1.
It's not. It would have cost me
Sucker.
20. It would have
I'd have
cost
paid-
me $21 instead of 20 to get my tag, and
Yeah,
I was
I'd have
having
paid
none
the
of it.
$1 and just been mad.
But I mean, that's a sizable. That's 5%, dude.
It's $1.
You know what? Maybe they did pass it. Maybe for me it was $1, and for people with larger tag bills, maybe it's more. Maybe it is the entire 5%.
But they get to
fee.
drive nicer cars, so fuck them. They should have to pay $2, bitches.
Well, nowadays the way they do it in Georgia is you pay all your ad valorem tax up front, so you don't have your yearly ad valorem due. So anybody anyone that bought a car after I think 2012, their yearly bill now is just the tag fee, $20.
Yeah.
They get you
Oh,
for
but
the
they
ad.
get hit with that big old ad valorem bill when they
Yeah,
buy
right
their
up.
car?
But it
Wow.
also it replaced the sales tax as well. So it's kind of a
Oh.
wash. Yeah, you're paying
Okay.
the ad, or at least it was. That might be a time limited thing. It may be ad valorem in place of sales tax for X number of years, and then they start charging both. I'm not sure. I
Right.
should look into that. I could have asked RJ. He would have known the answer to that.
He would have known.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'll tell you what, I wanted him to come on because I did some research on RJ, and I was looking at his website, and yeah, he's one of the, well, right now the only person in the race for chairman that has put up any specific policy proposals. Now Oz has his in his head, obviously, because
Right.
Oz will.
He
Oz
really
will-
sounds like he has a busy 90 days.
Yeah.
Oz is awesome.
I like Oz, and Oz obviously has plans for the county. I just don't think they're written down anywhere. I imagine we'll hear more about them at the debate, Saturday, which will be nice. We'll be back on the air in about 40 seconds, and then we'll get on to. I'll talk about getting wasted first of all.
Nice.
You know why he can talk about being wasted?
Why?
Because it's his show.
Because he got wasted.
Keith's getting wasted now, I think.
He is.
So yeah. Anyway, I thought that was a good interview. What'd you guys think?
Yeah,
I thought
no,
it was
he's a good guy.
fantastic. Yeah.
Good times.
I would like him better if he wasn't running against my friend Oz, but whatever. I mean, everybody's got to have something to do, I guess.
That's right.
I'm going
Here
to
we
text
go.
Oz right now and tell him I miss him.
We're going back in 3. All right, we're back. Yeah, thank you, RJ, for coming in. I like that. I think he has some really good policy ideas, and it's refreshing to see somebody actually put them down on paper. All right. So so this weekend, oh man, what a doozy! I got so drunk. I was Saturday night. Went out with Steven to celebrate his birthday. I told you about the Kimball House, but I don't know if I mentioned it on air with their overpriced duck. So we went to the Kimball House, then we went to the Marley House, and then we ended up at Trackside. And holy crap, I was wasted. Didn't even get home. Passed out on Smitty's couch. Yeah, passed
Sorry.
out on Smitty's couch and then ended up basically on his couch the entire day Sunday because I didn't want to move. We got up at one point to go get a sandwich, and that was about it. So that was a fun
Hang
day.
on, let's clarify. Was Smitty as drunk as you were?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Okay, so he was equally miserable Sunday.
yeah. Everyone was
Okay.
drunk.
Where'd you go to get it?
Our friend Ryan, who moved up here recently from Statesboro, he landed a good job, and so he treated himself to a new car, a Mercedes Benz. He puked into it on the way home.
No!
Yeah, it still has the dealer tag on it. Yeah, puked in his
Oh,
Merc on the way
So
home.
you can
Take
take
that
it
bitch back.
Yeah, that's right, dude. I don't know what
Obviously,
this
this
was.
one's defective.
Mm-hmm. So that was funny. I don't know
You
what
went
to
and got a
talk about
sandwich
now.
on Sunday.
Yeah, we just went to Riley, Stephen's wife, wanted a particular type of sandwich, so we went there. I wanted to go to Which, but I got overruled. And honestly, I wasn't in that big of a mood to put up a huge fight about it either.
And it
so.
wasn't your birthday.
That's true. That's very true. It was Smitty's birthday.
Yeah.
So Briley chose the sandwiches.
So,
Well,
Seems to
and
make
you probably weren't giving out the birthday banging, so Bradley got to pick the sandwiches.
Yeah, now I don't know how much birthday banging there was Saturday night, but
Just saying.
Yeah,
well, he
maybe.
doesn't either, so I'm
Maybe.
just saying.
oh man, we were so drunk, throwing darts at people instead of the dartboard, just tossing darts at
God.
people. Ryan tossed one behind his back. It went over a wall and almost got Briley in the head. That was pretty bad. I came home, I think, with 3 Guinness glasses. It was going to be 5, and I broke 2 of them, falling down. So that wasn't good.
You know, I was actually thinking that when you said how drunk you were and that you left the drinking establishment with 3 glasses, I was thinking that had I been your waitress, I would have been concerned about you falling down with these glasses secreted somewhere on your person.
and like impaling yourself with Guinness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Glasses,
I
yeah.
broke 2 of them. Oh, put it.
Who
I
hasn't
was
seen
so
that?
I was so drunk. I left half a pint sitting on the table.
What?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I've never wasted Guinness, and I had to
Ever.
leave. I had to leave it there. I had to go. It was
Wow.
bad.
So are you still considered British then?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm still gonna play that card, obviously.
Okay.
The broke
I mean, I
card.
didn't know if you lost your card or what.
Yeah. All right. You two talk about your weekends real quickly. I'm gonna adjust this camera.
What's about the camera? I don't.
Weekend. It was warm here for like a day and a half. It was spring.
Wow.
I mean, it's 39 degrees again today.
We're in the
but-
80s, so
Yeah, I heard.
so we got that going on.
Yeah, I hear you. What did I do? Oh, well, I should.
Oh,
wait
I
for
mowed
Alex
the
to get
lawn.
back to tell this story. I went to Minneapolis with a friend and her daughter last week, and rode a ridiculously huge water slide and threw up.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, not on the water slide. I made it back to the hotel room before I puked.
Oh.
Yeah, 10-story water slide.
Excellent.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, nobody should be surprised that I vomited.
The one thing I did not do this weekend was vomit. So
Good job.
that's good. Yeah, no, I was doing all right.
I mean, if you had, it should have at least been in the Mercedes-Benz.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. Oh God, you can only imagine. Had it been somebody else throwing up in his new Mercedes, I'm sure there would have been hell to pay.
Not much.
all
you
right,
can
so-
say, it's you.
Let me talk about this little thing real quick. So last week I ordered kind of a package on. It wasn't a package. It was pieces I put together on Amazon, all made by one company. Company out of California called Spigen. I don't really know how to say it, but I'm going to say Spigen. So I ordered a case. It was a phone case for the iPhone. Then this magnetic dashboard mount thing, and then this full screen glass screen protector for the phone. And they were all designed to work together, which is why I picked them out and put them together. This little snap-on case is great. Doesn't offer much protection, but it has a indent on the inside, if you take out the phone, there's like an indent in there which is perfectly shaped to the magnet that sticks in there, which then, you put the magnet in, put the case back on, and then it attaches to this magnetic mount on your dashboard, which is really cool. The full glass screen protector I got, while it was nice, I could not get it to adhere properly all the way around. I think it was really having issues with the curved edges on the iPhone screen. So I've actually sent that one back, and I've ordered the standard, the normal glass screen protector, I guess you would say, rather than the full screen curved glass. So I'm going to see how that works. But this was cheap. The case was $10. The magnetic dash mount, which is highly secure, by the way, you put it on there and it's like, bam, it's not going anywhere. That was $6. And the glass screen protectors, the full screen was $10, and the new ones I got a pack of 2 for $14, so $7 a piece. Anybody who's looking for some quality cases for your phone, and if you want it to be there, I believe they're all made in America. They're on Amazon, Spigen, Spigen. They do phones, obviously, other than the iPhone. I'm not sure why they do that, but they do. So they do hemorrhoids, and they do the Windows Phone Wimblows, and
Such an asshole.
yeah. So Android, and I think they do some Windows mobile phones and stuff like that. But very, very highly recommended. Which leads me on to Keith, because he was teasing us before the show.
He sure was.
Yeah, and I do have a guess what this is. So Keith, before you blurt the name out, let me get my opportunity in, but go ahead and give the clues that you were given before the show.
So I have the Samsung Galaxy S5 as my phone, and I've had some problems with it as far as reliability. It's got a ton of bloatware. I've been toying with replacing it with a phone that doesn't have bloatware. And there are several options out there of phones that are more stock Android versus the phones that are. It just comes with a bunch of stuff that you just don't need, and so there were. I kind of nailed it down to 2 particular phones. One was the Nexus. And
HTC 10.
And one was called OnePlus.
Okay, my guess is you got the Nexus 6P.
And so I'll get to my guess.
You don't get to guess.
Yeah, why would you guess? You ordered the damn thing.
No, I said I'll get to your guess.
Oh, okay. Go on then.
Yeah. So I went online and I looked at a lot of the features and stuff, and frankly, the OnePlus just wasn't there. So I did, in fact, go with the Nexus.
The 6 or the 6P?
6P.
Yes, nailed it.
yes, you did.
Yeah.
And so.
All right, now explain what the Nexus is then.
So the Nexus is the Google stock Android, or as you would like to call it, hemorrhoid phone. But it doesn't have the bloatware. It's got the latest and greatest of Android operating system. In this case, I think it's Marshmallow.
Marshmallow, yeah.
And you don't have to wait for your provider to provide one for your phone, and then it eventually uploads to your system.
That's correct. So let me just interject here. So the Nexus they're sold unlocked and carrier free. And they are Google contract with they use a different company each year. They contract with them to make what they call their pure Google devices, which have none of the carrier bloatware. It's just stock Android OS. And because it's serviced, it's manufactured, or because it comes under the Google umbrella rather than a carrier's umbrella, you get updates immediately the day they're released, just like you do on the iPhone. the carriers have no control over the iPhone in that respect either. This was Google's way of giving their customers that same kind of experience. Now, who makes the 6P? Is it LG?
It's Huawei.
Oh, Hawaii?
It's Huawei.
Hawaii.
Huawei.
Yes.
So it's Huawei. They're making the 7P as well, from what I understand.
Wait, so-
That hasn't been officially announced, so we
No.
don't know. But they have announced a patent of a Nexus 7P, so you know
Okay.
it's coming.
Well, I'm glad you got. I'm really glad you got the Nexus and got away from these, awful Samsung things.
You know what? I'm really happy that I'm getting away from it. There were some factors, though, that I wasn't entirely happy with. First off, none of the phones that I looked at were waterproof, and the Galaxy S5 is. But then I thought about it, and I was like, well, I don't really use that feature all that much, so I'll probably be okay with that.
The waterproof feature? Have you ever used the waterproof feature of a phone?
Well, yeah, I was waiting for somebody that was supposed to call to show up at the house, and I was in the shower, so I just brought the phone in the shower with me.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so if I had to answer.
So what you really mean is you were making a video of yourself showering.
I
Right.
did not ever say that.
You were live streaming.
Yeah, he didn't say it, but we know that's what he
No,
meant.
right.
All right, fair enough.
And
now-
it doesn't have wireless charging, but a lot of the phones don't seem to have wireless charging anymore.
Yeah. And I see a lot of disadvantages to wireless charging as well, because the way I use my phone, if I'm charging my phone, I'm also still using my phone.
Yeah.
So if I set it on a charging base and it's, say, on my coffee table, it's out of reach. I can't use it anymore. And in order to use
and
it, I
see,
got to
for
take
me,
it off
that's
the
not a
charger
problem
anyway.
because I do that all day long. I did find several devices, but the two phones that I was looking at, the OnePlus and the Nexus, they both have
USB-C.
USB-C, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's several companies out there that provide these devices, and I'm going to kind of hold my phone up, and they kind of plug into the back, and they kind of snap onto the back of your phone.
Yeah, it's a Qi charging case.
Yeah, and then they charge your phone.
Yeah,
They
you
don't
can add
have
you
one
can add
yet.
Qi charging. You can
Yeah,
add
they
Qi
don't-
charging to pretty much anything.
Yeah, they don't have one yet for the USB-C.
Okay. Well,
I'm sure it's coming, and
absolutely.
it's going to be available.
So
but-
it's a beastly phone. 5.7-inch display, 12 megapixel camera, 3 gigs of RAM, 3,450 milliamp hour battery.
Yeah,
That should get you through a day pretty handily.
I'm thinking
So you don't have it yet. You've ordered it.
it'll be here tomorrow.
Off of, did you go through Amazon or go straight to Google?
Amazon.
Okay. Get a good deal?
It was $5.99. Now, so that brings about the next topic I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
Was what I found was a lot of the phones no longer support SD cards.
Yes.
And they're all going towards the expectation that you'll have cloud storage.
Yes.
Well, that's all fine and good, except that who wants to pay for 128 gigabytes of cloud storage?
Okay, that's gonna. We'll finish talking about your phone, but that's gonna transfer me over to one of the subjects I had for this evening, which was my revisit of Google Photos. You know that the majority of the space on your phone is going to be taken up with photos, videos, and the other thing would be music, right?
Yeah,
So you're already an Amazon Prime member.
correct.
So there's music taken care of. There's your music in the cloud. Google Photos give you unlimited free storage of photos and videos at up to 20 I think it's up to 20 megapixels for photographs and up to 1080p for videos, and it's free and unlimited in the cloud. So the three things that take up 95% or 90, I'm going to say 90% of the space on a phone, they've been addressed in the cloud for free without costing you a penny.
Amazon
no,
also has
not true.
Amazon also has photo storage, which Alex, I haven't looked at. Maybe we should look at that just so we can talk about it at some point. But it's unlimited photo storage is what it says on Amazon. I'm guessing because I'm Prime. But
Possibly.
maybe that, yeah,
Why
something
do you
to talk
say
about at some point as well.
why though, Keith? Do you say not so?
Sorry, I was thinking of Amazon.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, you in order to get the Amazon Prime Music, you got to be a Prime member, so there's $100, but you're going to spend that anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be a Prime member regardless. So, with the advantage of that is you now have videos and music in the cloud. You never have to keep it on your device. Frees up the internal gubbins for you. So, how much space is on your phone? You opted for the $599 phone.
Yeah, I went all out for the 128.
So that's a 128.
Yeah.
And the thing is, with I had my last iPhone was a 128, but with the free cloud services, I actually bumped mine back down to a 64. We got a break. We'll finish. We'll talk about this again after that. We'll be back
All
in
right.
a few. Yeah, I actually dropped back down to a 64. Solely because of everything I've been doing in the cloud. But I'm a big adopter of the cloud now. Keith, you obviously aren't yet.
I have not been, and I don't mind it. I just find it to be restrictive as far as, like, what, 5 gigabytes? That's nothing.
I mean, I think on the iPhone, on iOS, your default account is 5 gigabytes, but there are so many more options available to you than just, and that's what I've been experimenting with lately with Google Photos and things like that. And I've made the decision now that I'm actually going to stick with Google Photos exclusively and get away from Apple Photos in the cloud. So
now, as far as I know, Google Photos is still linked to your Google account, which means you still have a limit.
There is no now. It is linked to your Google account, and if you use the full resolution storage option, then you're limited to that free 25 gigabytes. However, if you use what they call their optimized storage, which, like I said, is photographs up to 20 megapixels,
Yeah.
and which nobody has a 20 megapixel camera on their phone. Well, some people do, but I don't. Mine's 12.
Yeah.
So it will store my photos at full resolution in the cloud, unlimited, for free, without affecting my 25 gigabytes.
Oh, okay.
And videos up to 1080p resolution. I record everything at 720, so that's perfect for me. And yeah, it's completely free and unlimited if you use those optimized storage options. That's what's so great about it.
Mm-hmm.
I actually could have gotten away with a 16 gigabyte iPhone if I was more picky with apps. If I pared down some of the apps on my phone, I could get away with a 16 gig iPhone right now. But let me tell you, so I had a 128 gig iPhone prior to this, and I want to say I had about 27 gigabytes free. So when you figure in formatting, I was probably using about between 80 and 90 gigabytes.
Yeah.
On this phone, I'm using 20. So I've slashed my usage on the phone itself probably by 60 gigabytes.
Okay.
And now I am paying Apple right now because the default Apple account is 5 gigabytes. I pay them $1 a month, which ups it to 20 gigabytes. And I'm going to continue to do that for backups and things like that. But for photos and videos now, I can just store them straight on Google, and it's been working great.
Cool. All right.
Now,
I'm gonna
if
get
they
another
would
glass
just
of wine. I'm still listening.
okay, well I should
That's
probably
like
wait.
a DMV convenience fee.
Yeah, I should probably wait till we get back anyway because I'm going to have to rehash all of this. But
Yeah. You know, now that you say that, I think I'm paying Apple for some kind of cloud storage annual fee that I don't use. I should probably look into that.
yeah, you probably are. And
I mean,
you
it
know,
totally sounds like something I would do.
yeah. Another thing with my Apple cloud storage, I had turned off live photos. Do you know what live photos are on the iPhone 6s?
Yeah, like
6s
little
Plus?
videos.
Yeah, like little videos. Well, Google Photos now supports live photos in the cloud as well, so I can even turn on live photos and have those back up.
Oh.
Which I just took a live photo selfie of me with the just for fun thing.
But you're not doing anything. You're just being
No,
still.
I know.
You
Shit.
need to like bobble your head around.
Now my finger's covering it up, but I got to get the logo in there. Damn it! I can't get it all to fit. All right, fuck it.
So the other thing that I wanted to talk about was I bought this little GPS tracker.
That sticks to your phone.
You can stick it to anything you want. And
That's kind of awesome.
They claim
Yeah, people
that
stick them to their drones.
you can stick it to your car.
Yeah.
And then when your car gets stolen.
I'm totally going to stick that to my dog.
Yeah, I've seen people attaching them to
People
their
use it on their
drones.
pets.
That is awesome. Sorry.
So if we got time, I'd like to talk about that for a few minutes.
Sure. Yeah, we sure can. Well, when we get back, I'll go over cloud storage options again and stuff like that, and then we'll talk about the Bluetooth to Hickory.
It's more than Bluetooth though.
All right. Well, GPS. We'll talk about it because I'm curious as well.
Yeah.
Because, like I say, I know people have been sticking them to their drones, and I don't know the full technology behind them. So you can explain all that to me.
Well, I can explain what I know.
Yeah, you can explain. Yeah, you can explain what you know, and that's what this show's all about.
Exactly.
It's all about our limited knowledge.
Explaining what we know and making up the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That should be our
obviously.
tagline.
Yeah, science.
Explain
In
what
quotes.
we know and
In
fill in the
quotes.
rest.
Science.
Science.
Mhm. Yeah.
How much
Yeah,
time we got?
I'm looking at all the options for the 6P on, and look, Spigen. Yeah, the Spigen make all of their cases for the 6P. So
Yeah.
I would highly recommend, Keith, go onto Amazon, look up Spigen, S-P-I-G-E-N, take a look at their options for cases and glass screen protectors and regular screen protectors, and of course Skinomi. You'll probably put a Skinomi.
I
on
definitely want a tech glass version of it.
Oh, well, then go with, I would look at Spiegen's glass because it's like I said, the one I got didn't work out for me because of the edges of the phone. I think the new one's going to be perfect, but their oleophobic coating, the anti-fingerprint stuff on their glass,
Yeah.
unbelievable. Like
Nice.
I was trying to get fingerprint smudges on this glass screen protector.
Really?
Couldn't do it.
Of course you
Could
were.
not do it. Could not do it. I was.
I'm dipping my finger in olive oil and then sticking it on there.
A big test obviously would be like a divorced dad's penis or something. Rub that on there and see what it leaves. But
See, that was just too much. We didn't need to go there.
Why
we're
a
going,
divorced dad's penis? Why you got to be that specific?
Yeah, well, because they're probably pretty bad. All right, I think we're going back on here.
So
Yeah,
bothered.
we are. All right, 3-2. All right, we're back. Okay, so Keith got the 128 gigabyte Nexus 6P, and I wanted to talk about that quickly because it ties into my experiment with Google Photos. So I was using the iCloud storage and iCloud Photos, and it comes with 5 gigabytes by default, and I pay $1 a month to bump me up to 20 gigabytes. And for that, I was storing my photos, videos in the cloud. I have Apple Music for music, so I do pay for that. And I was using it for my backups. So I reloaded Google Photos, as you know, Danielle, and everything eventually backed up. And I've been using this, and I've made the decision that I'm actually going to use, from this point on, Google Photos exclusively because it costs me nothing. It's unlimited free storage if you use their optimized options. Now, that sounds bad, but when you think about it, their optimized options are great. It's photographs up to 20 megapixels stored at full resolution. Well, mine's a 12 megapixel camera, so it stores the full thing up in the cloud. Videos up to 1080p high def resolution. I record most things at 720, so I'm covered there. I could now start recording at 1080 and store everything up in the cloud. It won't store 4K for me in their optimized version, obviously, but I've never shot a 4K video. And it's free, completely free, unlimited storage as long as you use their optimized options. So anybody with a limited capacity phone, we know that music, photos, and videos use up 90% of the space on your phone. So switch to Google Photos, and photos and videos will be solved for you. Then your only issue will be music. You will either free up a lot of space on your phone for additional music, or you can look into another cloud service. So Keith, with his phone, now he opted for the 128 gigabyte, obviously, but the options available to him, because he's already a Prime subscriber, Amazon Prime, so he has Amazon Prime Music.
I do.
It's an Android, it's a hemorrhoid phone, so it's plugged right into Google Photos. So photos and videos, when you get the phone, Keith, and you turn it on, it's even going to say you can use Google Photos and use the optimized storage and store
yeah,
everything for free.
it'll connect on a heartbeat.
Yeah, and so Google they've done us all a favor. You know, they could have limited this just to Android users and said, hey, iPhone users, if you want to take advantage of this, get yourself an Android phone. But they didn't. They released it on the iPhone. It's available to every single one of us. I could now theoretically stop paying Apple the $1 a month and cut my online storage back to their free 5 gigabytes and just use it for backups exclusively.
I mean, nowadays, what are 5 gigabytes? 5 gigabytes is one app.
Well, I mean, yeah. My entire cloud storage on iCloud is right at about 13 gigabytes, I think, and that's backing up 2 phones, an iPad, and includes my photo and video cloud storage. However, with Google Photos now, I can also take far more videos and photographs and send those up into the cloud. Another advantage of Google Photos is the intelligence that's built into it. First of all, face recognition is amazingly creepy and scary. It found photos of me that you should not be able to recognize me in the photograph because it's so far away, or something like that. And it found me and added me.
Eerie.
It automatically or it suggests automatic creation of photo albums and movies. For Steven's birthday, it took the videos I'd shot and put them together into a movie for me and asked me, hey, do you want to keep this and save it to your album? So I did. It's very, very clever.
They're really cool. The movies that it does are really cool.
Yeah, I'm super impressed. You know, I have a lot invested in the Apple ecosystem with applications and hardware and things like that. And I really do like using an iPhone. So I'll probably stick with it. But were I ever to switch, it would be to a Nexus, pure Google device, and to purely Google services. Um, and I'll tell you what, man, it's unbelievable. And Google have their own music subscription service as well now. So they've got all the bases covered: photo, video, online, rentals for videos and movies, and they have a streaming music service. They've got the whole thing covered. Whereas it used to be only Apple had that entire ecosystem in place. Google's come a long way in the last 5 years, I'll tell you.
Oz, I texted Oz,
Sure.
completely off the topic, and he said to tell you what's up.
What's up, Oz? That's funny. I can't. You're texting Oz. I can't believe that.
Of course you can.
Well, I can. Yeah.
Of course you
Oz,
can.
he's a funny guy. So yeah, Keith, get yourself over to Amazon. Look up Spigen, Spigen. Order yourself a nice case, a screen protector. But you said you have something else that you got. Which
Okay,
did you get it for the phone?
No. Actually, this was just for something to experiment with, and
Okay.
in fact, I'm considering doing a little more experimentation with it, but stop. So
Collect your thoughts and collect your thoughts and
Yeah.
rejoin the conversation.
Sorry about that. So anyway, I've seen these GPS tracker things, and this one is actually called Tracker, TRACKR. I think it's .com, and it will connect to your phone Bluetooth, and you can track where whatever it is you connect it to is. But and there's other things that do that. But the cool thing about this is it has what's called Crowd GPS. And
Okay.
Crowd GPS apparently will connect to other tracker devices. And so if you have it in your stolen car, it'll start reporting to you where it is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How is
and
this thing? How is this thing powered?
So it's got a little battery that apparently inside it lasts a year, and it just sits. If you choose to put it in your car or on your pet.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it online and it looks very much like a tag that you would put on a dog's collar.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have one, and so I'm thinking about, and I don't know if Danielle's got the free time to do so, but I was thinking about, let's do an experiment and see if you can find out how many pings I get.
I don't get it. What do
Well,
you mean?
we would have to have trackers, wouldn't we, in order for
Yeah,
that to
no,
happen?
I've got a tracker in my car. I give you my login and password.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, and see how many crowdsourced pings you get.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's what he's proposing, Danielle, because what happens with this tracker is, I guess it doesn't have a overly powerful GPS signal, so it relies on
it's
other
all
people.
Bluetooth.
Yeah, so it
Okay.
relies on other people having a tracker unit in order to communicate and send an alert to you. So let's say Keith, in this experiment, Keith will have the tracker in his car,
Okay.
and theoretically, every time he drives by, he'll report it as lost, and then every time he drives near or comes in to proximity of somebody else with a tracker, it will use the crowdsourcing and send an alert saying, "Oh, we found your stuff. Here it is."
Exactly.
So I see what he's saying, and that will tell us how prevalent this system is and how likely you are to find your stuff using it.
In an
Oh, that's
urban
cool.
environment.
Yeah. How much are these things?
It's $30.
Huh.
Yeah.
That
But-
is not. I mean, that's something I should throw in my computer bag.
But I don't want to recommend it unless it's going to be.
Yeah, unless it's actually useful and there are enough
Yeah.
people using it that the crowdsourcing actually pays off.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
So,
all right.
so that was
Yeah,
my
we'll do that.
last thing.
Yeah, we'll test that. That's a good idea. Yeah, you could attach this to anything. Attach it to your keys. Throw it in a.
Yeah.
Throw it in your gear bag or in your car. Very clever. Now for the car, I like what's the name of the device? It's called whatever.
No
I'll
jack?
look it up during the I'll look it up during the next break. But it's a device that has GPS and everything and plugs into your OBD2 port, and it also monitors the health of your car. It monitors, where the car's been, speeds and location and things like that. I like that device for in a car because again, you can also track a lost car using it. But I can't remember what the damn thing's called. However, it's also $99, I believe. What's
And
it
this
called?
is handy because you can just throw it in the car.
Yeah, I mean this is a very clever idea. Yeah, and if enough people were using these, that that it was bumping into other people and making contact on a regular basis, yeah, your chances of finding something would greatly increase.
But it has to be somebody else with one of these things, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
what? So
I believe so.
Yeah, it does. It's their crowdsourcing geolocation.
so you guys have a much better chance than I would say up here in the land of the few.
Yeah,
Yeah.
possibly.
But that's why I wanted to do an experiment and see how many times you would even get a ping
Right.
on me.
Right.
You can use it. You can set it up to. So if you keep it on your keychain, you can use it as a. You can press a button, which will make your phone ring, so you can find your phone if you need to.
Yes.
If it will also buzz, so if it is on your keychain and you lose your keys, you can use the app on the phone to make it buzz, so you can find your keys. Dude, this thing is actually kind of cool.
Oh, it works, and I did those things, but I thought this crowd GPS thing was the real story.
Yeah, I think it is because again, you could toss one in your car, you could throw one in your laptop bag, and if anyone ever picks it up and runs off with it, you theoretically have a way to trace it. But I like that it's two-way communication. You can make the tracker itself act as the locator, but you can also use your phone to locate it. I like that it's a two-way, like a bilateral communication there. I think that's quite clever.
Yeah, that is kind of
Very
cool.
nice.
So
Yeah, very nice. $30 on Amazon. Available in silver. It
Do
looks
what?
like available in silver, gold, black, and blue.
I didn't know they were different colors. I just ordered
yeah.
one.
Yeah, they got different colors of these things. Oh, and rose gold, of course. They've got the Apple colors covered.
Oh, and then the one other thing I wanted to cover. QuickTime.
Okay. Being discontinued?
Apple has told everybody totally just stop QuickTime.
Stop using QuickTime. Yeah. Yep,
Why is that?
they will no longer be developing or supporting QuickTime.
No, and no, they have a major
A bug?
bug.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. I heard they're discontinuing it and they're not going to fix that bug, so they're telling people just quit using it now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a development platform they've given up on. I don't know. Well, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but like iMovie and iPhoto and stuff like that on the Mac, even Final Cut Express and Final Cut Pro, they've pretty much been abandoned by Apple. And most professionals in that movie making industry have moved on to other platforms anyway, like Adobe and people like that. So yeah, Apple have given up on QuickTime entirely. Not sure how that's going to affect iTunes and things like that, which are pretty deeply embedded, I think, with QuickTime. But I guess we'll see in the future. But yeah, I think what happened there, Keith, was they were abandoning the platform anyway, and they just said, you know what, guys, give up on it.
Yeah.
We just won't do it. We're coming up on a break, but real quick, Danielle, we mentioned this last week, the textilizer.
Yes.
The breathalyzer for cell phones. Well, it's not.
Yes.
It's
Right.
or the equivalent of. This is a device apparently that the police believe they're going to be able to plug into your phone and determine whether you were using your phone prior to an accident.
Yes.
What an absolute crock of shit. Only in England, by the way, would this be possible, because here the police won't be allowed to plug anything into your phone without a warrant, first of all.
Well, it's in New York, isn't it?
I don't know. I would have thought this was just in England. I don't know. I'm looking now.
Yeah, I don't remember
Hey
if I...
guys, I'm gonna head to bed.
All
All
right,
right,
Keith.
night, buddy.
Thanks a lot,
Night.
brother. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. Maybe it is, but even it's not going to fly. It's not going to fly. And anybody with any understanding of their rights, when asked to hand over their cell phone, will just say,
Right.
no, that's okay. You're good. The Supreme Court has said you can't search my phone without a warrant. So
Yep, New York.
And
It was on Engadget. New York
Okay.
bill would have police scan your phone after a crash.
It says here, failure or refusal to hand over a device would result in revocation of the driver's license or permit.
Yep.
It's absolute bullshit. This
Well, it's
legislation,
like a breathalyzer.
yeah, this legislation will not pass constitutional muster. The courts have already said you have to have a warrant to search somebody's cell phone, and that's what this is. This is an illegal search of a cell phone. There's ways of that. They can contact the carrier. They can subpoena evidence, just like they have in the past, and to this day, that's their method for finding out whether you were using your phone. Get a subpoena. Oh, hey.
Go. Thank God we're not
Oh,
shooting nothing.
Yeah, I don't like this piece of technology. I think this is, again, just a complete overreach by the government, more intrusion where they don't belong. And again, it's just another way to avoid having to do any actual fucking police work.
Here's what the Engadget article is saying. It says, if the bill becomes law, it could blah, 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 blah. It does raise some questions. How accurate is the technology, for example? Will it mistake background phone activity, such as notifications or updates, for active use?
Right.
So, like, what is this technology looking for?
And
You know what I mean? Like,
right. And is there a button they can press to inject data so that they can make you guilty? This is why it won't pass muster. There's too much room for shenanigans.
right.
Shadiness.
Well, I mean, and
Yeah.
aside from just nefarious behavior, just that, like, if it's just looking for activity, who's to say you didn't receive a text and not look at it?
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Yeah. Who's to say it didn't just pop up on the screen, or that you
Right.
interacted hands free? Because you're allowed to do that. I can use Siri to send and receive messages hand free.
Right.
There's nothing on the books about that, at least here in Georgia. Anyway,
Right.
I just don't like this. The police have resources available to them that they're
Right.
supposed to use in order to satisfy their burden of proof.
Right.
It just strikes me that every step of the way, the government is trying to make their burden of proof easier, while making the burden on us to prove our innocence we're not supposed to prove our innocence. We're innocent until proven guilty. If you have to use a subpoena to prove us guilty, that's just the way it is. Simple as that. The courts have already said you can't go searching somebody's phone without a warrant. So this failure to or refusal to hand over, it's absolute bullshit, and it'll get kicked out in a heartbeat. If we want to discuss this more, we'll do it when we get back from the break. Okay.
Okay.
All
Sounds
right,
good.
we'll be back in a few. Danger zone.
I do kind of want to discuss it more because I see your point, but I wonder too. I mean, I wonder, is it parallel to a breathalyzer where, I mean, when you get your driver's license, you consent to take a breathalyzer if there's evidence.
I agree that if they have probable cause and
Right.
you've given implied consent by getting your driver's license, you
Right.
know, it's one in Georgia, it's one of the agreements you make with the state by getting a
Right.
driver's license is implied consent to a
Field
breathalyzer.
sobriety test.
But that's not protected by the Fifth Amendment because it's not a search. Plugging something into your phone
It is a search
a
though,
search.
because they're collecting like a breathalyzer specifically, and if they take you in for a blood test, it's collecting like bodily evidence.
Well, yeah,
So-
okay, fair enough. I guess, yeah, I
It is.
suppose you could argue
So-
that collecting of fluids is a considered a search.
Yeah, like the vapor, like
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
blood absolutely is.
Yeah. However, the courts have already determined that your personal property and your personal effects are not subject to random searches by the government.
Right.
That covers your car itself. It covers. So here's all you have to do. Let's just say this goes into effect and they say, give us your phone. You say, well, it's in my car and you don't have the right to search my car. This won't give them the blanket right to then enter your car just to grab your cell phone, right? So again, there's no way this can pass constitutional muster. It opens the door for far too many violations of your civil rights. Because let's say I'm instructed, get out of the car. Do they then say, get out of your car with your cell phone? Then you're reaching to pick up something, which they hate you doing. They don't want you
Right.
reaching to pick things up, right? Yeah, I don't believe there's any way this could ever stand up in court.
But they can search your car with reasonable cause. Like if it smells like pot, they can
Not
search
reasonable.
your car.
They have to have probable cause.
Okay, probable cause.
Yeah.
So if
reasonable
you're-
suspicion and probable cause. In order
Right,
to
right,
have
right.
to do a search,
right.
it has to be probable cause.
Right. So if your car smells like pot, they can search it. So
Well, and only if you know. Again, yeah, they can claim probable cause from that.
and I think
But so many get overturned by that because again, they're still supposed to produce a warrant in order that they can either get consent to a search or then go on and get a warrant. Now most people obviously consent to a search. They figure if I've got
Right.
nothing to hide, search my car. I would never, ever in a million years actually consent to a search because could be, I mean, I don't know what's in my car. Well, I do know what's in my
Yeah, you
car,
do know
but
what's in your
who
car.
knows if I had a passenger in the car and they dropped something at some point in time and I haven't been through with a fine tooth comb and the police find something. Well, that evidence is then on me. You see what I'm saying?
So you would actually tell the police they couldn't search your car.
You're absolutely right. And by the way, go talk to any police officer and ask them what they tell their wives and daughters. When they will tell their wives and daughters never consent to a search because they know what goes on. Without probable cause, they'll ask you if you can search the vehicle. You say no, I do not consent to searches. 99% of the time, because they don't have probable cause, they'll move on. If they do believe they have probable cause, then they'll bring in a dog. If the dog alerts on the vehicle, then they can search the vehicle. Don't do their job for them. This
Right.
is my whole point with everything. It's not up to us to do their job for them. The police have a job to do. I have a lot of respect for the police, don't get me wrong, but they don't come to my office and do my job for me. So
Right.
I'm not going to go to their office and do their job for them. I have rights. Everybody on the road has rights. If you're drunk, you're going to jail. So, or whatever happens, you're going to
Right.
go to jail or whatever it is they do. But if they're stopping you for a taillight and they ask you if they can search your vehicle, don't say yes. I don't care if I have nothing to hide. Doesn't matter whether you have something to hide. Again, they can find anything. They can find something. Oh shit!
Did we just talk right through what
Yeah,
we're
I just
supposed to be
talked right
talking?
through the opening of the break there. Sorry about that. Yeah, so we're talking about consent and probable cause and reasonable suspicion for searches and things like that. And I the reason I don't think this thing will pass constitutional muster, Danielle, is because the courts have already determined that your property and your person, by the way, your physical person, are protected from unreasonable searches. Okay. If the police have probable cause, they can search your vehicle. Okay. If they have probable cause, they can search your phone, but you're under no obligation to give them the key to do that. That's this whole argument Apple's having with the FBI. It's not our job to provide you the key to get through the lock, right? And any police officer, will tell his family, don't ever consent to a search. If you're stopped, don't consent to a search. That's their advice. They tell their own families this. And 99% of the time, if they don't have probable cause, they'll ask for consent. If you say I don't consent to searches, they may delay you for 10 minutes or something, but eventually they'll say, okay, here's your information, you're free to go. Because they know the law also. The police understand the law. They understand they don't have a blanket right to search your vehicle to try and come up with evidence. And that's the whole purpose of a search. It's not to make sure, it's not to, guarantee anyone's safety. It's their job to find evidence to use against you. And if you consent to a search, then they're going to do whatever they can to try and find evidence to use against you. Now, granted, in my case, they would find no evidence to use against me. There's no illegal contraband or anything like that in my car. But I still would not consent to a search. Like I said, the police don't come to my office and do my job for me. I'm not going to go to their office and do their job for them. They have a job to do. I'm not going to impede them from doing their job, but I am going to exercise every right available to me. And one of those rights is the right to refuse a unreasonable search. I would recommend that to everybody, not to be a dick, not to be an asshole to the police, but to politely reinforce your rights and stand up for your civil rights. Because as soon as we start conceding our rights, that's when everything goes to hell. That's when that's when they start taking away our rights. And that's what I see this textualizer is doing. It's taking away our right to protect from an unreasonable search. The courts have already, the Supreme Court, the big court, have already said in order for the police to search your phone, they have to have a warrant. Not probable cause, not reasonable suspicion, an actual physical, honest to God, signed by a judge warrant. Why, if the Supreme Court has determined that, why am I going to give up that protection in order to try and make somebody's job easier? I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it. Now, if New York write this into law, I do believe it will go to court, and it will go to court very quickly, and the courts will say, no, this is an unreasonable search. It's already been decided in this case over here, and I don't recall the case. But yeah, I think this will be found very quickly to be unconstitutional and basically an illegal search which contradicts current law.
So I don't know if this makes a difference. According to this article, which says very little, by the way, it's from Engadget. It says that it doesn't like it's not looking for content, it's looking for activity. So all it'll do is tell, and it says whether you've quote been busy.
Yes.
And then that's why it says, that there's an issue. We don't know if it'll discern between like an incoming call or an incoming text and you actually interacting with the phone.
Or using turn-by-turn directions, which everybody does on their phone, right?
Right.
Everyone uses it as a GPS.
Yeah, absolutely. So that issue aside, does that change your argument at all about
no, absolutely not. Absolutely not, because
that it's
then
just,
in order to determine what activity actually took place, then they have to dig even deeper. Well, at that point, they're trying to generate evidence. They have no probable cause, right?
So then they're trying to prove that the activity was.
Yeah. Then they're there to try and develop probable cause against you, and that's illegal. That's against the law. You can't stop somebody with the intent of finding probable cause. You have to have probable cause initially to stop them. Now, that may be a broken tail light, right? If they want to go any further than that broken tail light, they then have to be able to articulate reasonable suspicion in order to go any further.
But in this case, it's an accident.
But in this case, they're talking about a hypothetical accident. What if it is a hypothetical tail light or an illegal turn, right?
This law is after a crash.
Is it? Well, again, I'm still not concerned. I mean, obviously the investigation for that crash is done and over with, right? And if they want to subpoena the records for that phone from the carrier, they were able to do that. If they want to somehow forcibly, if they've got this guy and they're using this to find evidence against him.
This isn't about a particular crash. The article is about that they want to enact a bill. They're trying to enact a bill that after crashes, they would be able to check your phone to see if you were using your phone, which may have led to said crash.
Yeah, doesn't change my mind in the least bit.
Okay.
Again, they have to make a case.
Right. I gotcha.
Making somebody submit to a search in order to build a case against them actually violates the violates the Fifth Amendment to self-incrimination, and it violates the Fourth Amendment of a warrantless search. They can then get a warrant to unlock the phone, in which case they'll be, I guess, fighting with Apple or Google again at that point, or finding another way into the phone. Again, it's not our job to prove their case for them. They have to prove the case for themselves. And issuing a blanket order that you have to give us access to your cell phone after an accident is illegal. It violates the Fifth Amendment on so many levels. It's not even funny. We have the right not to.
In New York.
If it passes in New York, it will get struck down by the federal court in a heartbeat. I bet you it will be a week before the ACLU get this into court and get an injunction. A week. I would give it 5 days maximum for the ACLU to get an injunction, because it's such a violation of the Fifth Amendment. It's not even funny. Oh yeah, you are now lawfully required to provide us the evidence we need and incriminate yourself in order for us to get a conviction. There's no more cut and dried. Do you see what I'm saying?
Stop ranting. So speaking of New York, have you been following what's going on with Apple in New York?
Mm-hmm.
So Apple has now.
Yeah, you cover it. Bits and pieces is all.
I mean, I as well have been picking up on bits and pieces, so you might have other bits than I do. But quick refresher, much like the what's his name, the terrorist Syed Farouk's phone, there is a phone in New York that's involved in a drug case that the district attorney, I believe, is in possession of, and wanted help cracking.
He was one of the ones at that Senate hearing, remember?
Right.
Yes. There.
Yes. So they've got a warrant. This is one of the phones. They have a warrant for the information on the phone. They can't get to it because it's an iPhone 5C or 5S, and it's
Okay.
encrypted. So we believe that they were waiting to see what happened with the terrorist phone, to see what happened in that case, to press on their case. The Apple won one leg of that case. The court said, no, you can't force them to do whatever.
Using the All Writs Act, remember?
Right. So now New York is continuing to press, trying to get Apple's help. So Apple has now spun the thing on its head and said, well, that Apple believes that the FBI has not demonstrated, or that the Justice Department has not demonstrated that the method that was used to access Syed Farouk's phone won't work on the phone that they have in New York. So what Apple essentially is saying is, well, you guys did it over there, you can do it over here, so you don't need our help.
Yeah, well, the All Writs, really in order to use the All Writs Act, the government have to prove that they've exhausted every other means of getting the evidence thereafter. And Apple are arguing that you've not exhausted any means at this point.
Well, they're specifically saying you got access over there in California because that's why you backed down from fighting with us.
Yeah,
so or go,
we know the FBI unlocked one. Go talk to the FBI.
Yeah, call your friends over there.
Yeah, is Apple's argument. Now, I say this guy's I say this guy in New York is a jackass, and I can't remember his name, but he is. You notice what they're not doing is forcing the defendant to unlock the phone, because they can't do it. The Constitution prohibits it. Again, we get back to that pesky Fifth Amendment.
No, they don't want that phone in his hands. What would happen if they put the phone in that defendant's hands?
Regardless, my point is they're not coercing or forcing the defendants to provide a passcode, because again, they can't.
Well, you can't.
To unlock it or to do something. And
but they don't want to give them access to their phones because they would crash them.
But this is where it ties back into that textualizer. The law prohibits them from coercing or forcing the defendant to unlock the phone.
Well, I mean, you can't. What are they going to do?
It's self-incrimination. But it's self-incrimination is the point. And that's why this textualizer won't fly, because it requires you to willfully, well, not even willfully, it's a requirement on you to hand over personal property for the purpose of a search, which is against the law. You cannot be, as a defendant, you cannot be compelled to hand over evidence of any kind. And that's why the textualizer won't work. So the guy in New York, the ADA in New York, or whoever he is, the assistant attorney general or whoever the fuck he is, he's doing the right thing. He's actually going to court.
District Attorney of New York County.
Okay. Well, he's actually using the courts, and he's trying to use whatever legal means he has to access this device. This textualizer thing bypasses that entirely, which is why it won't hold muster. Which is why it will be struck down in a matter of days. Do you see what I'm saying there?
I do, but I don't know that they're not going to draw a parallel to a true breathalyzer and ride in on that.
Yeah, I promise you there's a good legal argument for that, which I will come up with.
Call Stephen. He's a good liberal too. He would love that. Because you can choose not to drive. It's not like eating and breathing and sleeping.
You're absolutely right. And the thing is, though, implied consent covers you as a driver. Okay, I know the legal reasoning for implied consent, and I just can't think of the exact wording behind it. But I'll think of it before the end of the show. But there's a reason why implied consent covers drink driving. It covers implied consent covers impaired driving. So if they could prove, or if they could argue that phone usage was impaired driving, that's one thing. However, in order to prove that, they have to get access to here's what it boils down to. In order to prove that your phone usage caused impaired driving, they have to gain access to the phone first. Right. And develop probable cause before having probable cause. Do you see what I'm saying?
It's
Whereas with
tautological, yeah.
whereas with drunk driving, they can smell. They
Right.
have that probable cause
Right.
initially
Or
before
they can
doing
observe
any
your behavior.
yeah. So with drunk driving and submitting to a drunk test, the reason you can be compelled through implied consent is because they have probable cause before asking you to take the test. If they get to your car and you've had an accident and there's no visible or physical signs of impairment, for them then to compel you to provide evidence, again, violates the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. You are then being put in a position where you are forced to incriminate yourself. That's why it won't apply the way DUI does, because DUI, there are actual physical signs that obviously raise probable cause. Now, having said that, if you crash and your phone is in your hand, they could then
Right.
argue that's probable cause.
Or in plain sight. I wonder.
Yeah, I don't think in plain sight would pass muster either, because you could you can have anything in plain sight. Obviously, a police officer can look at. He's not allowed to touch it. They're not allowed
Right.
to investigate it any further.
Right.
So if in my car I had a lockbox in the back,
Mhm.
they could look at it and say, well, there's a lockbox, but they're not allowed to investigate any
But no.
further without probable cause.
I'm saying if your phone is like in plain sight or like easy access of the driver, I wonder if that's
I don't,
probable
I mean,
cause
again, they
for an
can
accident
argue.
that
Well,
they're
they can
using
argue
it.
that, right? But I don't think it'll pass muster, because again,
Right.
in order to determine anything visible, they can look at it. A visible item does not constitute probable cause.
Right.
And that's, again, a lockbox in the back of a pickup truck does not create probable cause for a search. They have to have probable cause in order to enter that lockbox. In that case, it would require a warrant, because it would require breaking into or consent from the driver. So yeah, just actually visibly seeing a cell phone, no, I don't believe for a second that would give the police probable cause for a search. Again, New York may argue that, and the legislature may write that in, but I
Right.
think it would, again, 5 days, and the first judge would say, no, absolutely not. Merely seeing a cell phone is not probable cause for a search. That's my
Right.
opinion. We shall see. It'll be interesting to see, though, I guess. I have no doubt that,
especially with it being New York,
well, I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that New York will pass this law and
Right.
then leave it for the courts to figure out.
to sort out. Yep.
Yeah, but I believe that, and they will probably use the impairment aspect of it, and the courts will say, yeah, but with a drunk driver, there are physical signs of impairment. Merely seeing a cell phone is not a physical sign of an impairment. Simply,
Right.
and especially when everybody has a cell phone, and that the probability of discovering a cell phone in a car after an accident is probably 99%.
Right. And with the impact, the phone may have been far from where you find it.
Yeah. I think the court's going to tell the police what they already know. If you want to get evidence off a phone, get a warrant and get the evidence. Same rules apply as today, but we shall see. Yeah, that's interesting. That got a little more deep than I expected it to go.
Yeah, I thought we would just laugh at it and move on.
Yeah. So a few minutes here before the break. Again, let's talk about privacy. BlackBerry. So it turns out that the Canadian police, the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, since 2010 have had the master encryption key to all BlackBerry devices on the BIS system, the BlackBerry Internet Service. So this is primarily consumer and small business devices that don't run their own Exchange server. Every single one in the world, they've had the master encryption key, and apparently they have set up a third-party server that has been collecting all of the data from all of these phones all over the world and been able to decrypt it on demand. Now, nobody can say where the police got this encryption key. BlackBerry themselves have neither admitted or denied that they've given it to the RCMP, but I bet they did. I'll tell you what, for a company that builds their entire brand on security, what do you think this now does? They've been struggling. BlackBerry are having a desperate time.
That was going to be my second question to you. One was going to be, do you think BlackBerry handed it over? And two was going to be, do you think this is a nail in their coffin? Mm-hmm. Because I think that companies for years have kept their people on BlackBerries because, they're supposed to be secure.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be like the secure business devices.
Yeah, they was supposed to be the only secure business device. In fact, it has government certifications that many devices either do not have or have not been able to attain until, say, within the last couple of years with their security technologies. It's still the only platform, I believe, fully trusted by the United States government. Now,
I was going to say, wasn't there a big thing when President Obama came in about
he
BlackBerry
wanted to,
and iPhone?
Exactly. And they said, no, you have to use this government issued BlackBerry so your communications is secure. Now, I do want to reiterate that this I'll call it a vulnerability. It's actually a pure intrusion by a socialist government.
Yeah.
It does not affect anybody that runs their own BES, BlackBerry Enterprise Server. If you're a big business or the government and you set up and run your own BlackBerry Enterprise servers, you actually generate your own encryption keys. Okay, so your company or government entity, whoever it is, they have complete control over those encryption keys. This is only for people who take advantage of the BlackBerry Internet Service, the BIS, which you would, generally if you have a BlackBerry and you were paying your carrier $20 a month for BlackBerry service, then you were vulnerable to this intrusion. And I hate to tell you, but everything you sent and received has been snagged by the Mounties. That's kind of scary, right?
Blows my mind.
Yeah. And this is anybody in any country in the world because the RCMP set up a third-party spoof server that captured pin-to-pin communications. That's scary.
I'm trying to think.
And that's the end of BlackBerry. They released their quarterly results, and I think last quarter, I believe for the whole of last year, they sold something ridiculous like 16 million phones. It may be more than that, but it was nothing when compared to the likes of Apple and Google. It was nothing. They are a blip on the radar, like 0.1% market share. And they have plans to launch 2 new Android devices in the upcoming year, which again secured with their BlackBerry Internet Service security. They're claiming their Android phones are the most secure Android phones on the planet, and yet this happens. Now, let me ask you this: if the RCMP have this encryption key, who else has it? Yeah,
yep.
Because once it's out there, and there's no recovering.
Well, and why the RCMP? Like, why do they have it?
Well, BlackBerry being a Canadian company, this is why I truly believe that BlackBerry gave it to them to aid them in investigations. And I don't think BlackBerry expected the RCMP to do what they did, which was set up a third-party server and start capturing everyone's data.
But I mean, once you give somebody access, as you've been saying, that's the problem. Once it's out there, it's out there. You
once the door's open,
that bell.
Yeah. Once the door's open, we're done. We're on a break. Let's take this real quick. When we come back, we'll finish this up.
Okay. Yeah. Did we? I think we mentioned. I don't know if we talked about the article about BlackBerry saying that companies need to work with the police to.
Yeah, which came out after this revelation, obviously.
Today, I think
Hmm.
the article came out. Let me find it.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Crackberry. I'm sure it's there. Although Crackberry were playing this down like it's no big deal, obviously. Being Crackberry, I guess they're here we go. John Chen clears the air about decryption key access. Let's see what happens. Let's see if he fessed up.
Hey, sorry, I fell out of the Hangout.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I
Oh,
did.
sorry. So I was there talking to myself
Oh,
because if you go to Crackberry, they have it at the top of their page. BlackBerry clears the air about security encryption or some shit like that.
oh, sweet.
And John Chen said tech companies as good corporate citizens should comply with reasonable lawful access requests.
Yep.
Which is, nobody's disputed that. Apple and Google
No,
neither
yeah.
have disputed that. What they have said is we should not be required to hand over the keys.
Right. I read an article this morning, and unfortunately I didn't pocket it. Maybe you saw it. Like the Apple's quarterly transparency report or something, and it talked about how many cases they have aided the governments in, like.
Well, it was also just for the last period of time they were allowed to report on, which I think was 2 years ago.
Right.
Because the government won't let them report on current numbers.
Okay.
They're told, no, you have to hold on to those and report them later. So
Right.
from 2 years ago, Apple received over, I believe it was 700,000 requests for data from the government. That's a big fishing expedition. I'm sorry, that's all that is.
Well, and they respond positively to a lot. I mean, the report said they respond positively to many of the requests that they get. Just when somebody says, hey, give us the secret data you don't have, they don't have it.
Right. And if it requires breaking the security of all of their devices, they're going to say no.
Of every device worldwide, yeah. Sorry. But I thought that was interesting that they do actually respond positively to reasonable requests.
Yeah, they all do. I mean, Apple, if the data is available in iCloud, they will hand over that data. If they believe now, Apple do. I think they have their lawyers look at most of these requests to determine whether it's lawful or whether they believe it's a lawful request or whether it is just a phishing expedition. Because I think the rate of compliance with Apple is less than like 5%.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, of what ones they actually determine to be lawful requests for information. The rest of it is just a phishing expedition by the government, by the police, or whomever is requesting it.
Like, we just want to know what's on this guy's phone?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Not like we have reason to believe this information's on that guy's phone?
Apparently very few of these requests are actually backed up with a warrant.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a request by, say the assistant DA in New York. It's coming to Apple and saying, hey, we need data off this phone. And Apple will say, okay, well then provide us a warrant.
Right.
And if they get a warrant and they have access to that data without, defeating encryption for everybody, they provide that data.
Right.
All right, we're coming back.
Okay.
That was a quick break. All right, we're back. So yeah, John Chen, the CEO or whatever the hell he is these days of BlackBerry, issued a statement today. And Chen says BlackBerry stood by our lawful access principles while assisting Canadian police in 2010. So it was BlackBerry that provided them the key. That's an admission right there.
Yeah, it is.
He said, what does he say about tech companies as good corporate citizens should comply with reasonable lawful access requests? Nobody disputes that. If it's a lawful request, Apple and Google both comply with them. The problem is so many of these requests are just blanket fishing expedition requests backed up with no warrant. And no company is going to comply with that because they don't have to, right? Again, there's a procedure in place. Get a warrant, we'll give you the data. And I believe the last round of data that Apple is allowed to report on, because the government tells you whether you can or cannot report on these numbers, by the way, which is shady in and of itself.
Right.
That they're going behind everybody's backs and requesting data, and the company is not allowed to report this to
Talk about
anybody.
it. Right.
But of the over 700,000 requests in the last batch of data, which was I think covered 2 years ago, beginning 2 years ago, of the over 700,000 requests, I believe less than 5% were actually determined to be lawful requests backed up with a warrant. The rest were just fishing expeditions. They were just looking, either an ongoing investigation, but they didn't have a warrant in order to search or access the data, something like that. So the actual compliance rate's pretty low, thankfully. But it's because they're making sure the government do their due diligence and do what they're supposed to do, except for BlackBerry. BlackBerry handed over the encryption keys. And
Just the
this
key
is
to
how,
the kingdom.
yeah, this is how John Chen is trying to spin it. So I quote, "For BlackBerry, there is a balance between doing what's right, such as helping to apprehend criminals, and preventing government abuse of invading citizens' privacy, including when we refuse to give Pakistan access to our servers." By the way, that's a blatant lie. They did not refuse. There was a big fight about it. They ended up allowing Pakistan to run their own BlackBerry internet server, to which they controlled the encryption keys. So while he's technically correct that they said to Pakistan, we're not going to give you access to our servers, what they did was put into place a let's say a third-party infrastructure where everybody in Pakistan ended up going through a government BlackBerry server in India. So Chen is trying to spin this, but he's being very disingenuous about that. Anyway, including when we refuse to give Pakistan access to our servers. We've been able to find this balance even as governments have pressured us to change our ethical grounds. Despite these pressures, our position has been unwavering, and our actions are proof that we commit to these principles. So what he's saying is our actions are proof that, yeah, we'll hand over the encryption keys and let them do whatever the hell it is they want to do. That is our principle.
We help the government.
Yeah, that's our governing security principle. We will hand over the keys to the entire system for every BlackBerry BIS user on the planet, and we'll try to spin it as if we're good corporate citizens. Fuck BlackBerry. If ever I was considering looking at a priv.
We
not
talked
anymore.
about it a lot.
Not anymore. Everything about this statement is sleazy bullshit, including what he says about
Horseshit is what it is.
Yeah, it's crap. This is a blatant lie about Pakistan, because they say, yes, okay, they did not give Pakistan access to their servers, but they did build the infrastructure for Pakistan to run their own server, which was linked to the BlackBerry internet system. So it's a very disingenuous, well, it's horseshit is what it is. And I don't like that. This is a sleazy corporate shenanigans.
Yeah.
It's a shame. They've ruined, for anybody now that is concerned about security, BlackBerry will be the bottom of their list. It used to be right here at the top. Now it's going to be right at the bottom. It's disgusting. And then they're trying to fool people with this bullshit statement. I don't know what to say. That sickens me. And most people will never know, because most people don't know what happened in Pakistan. They weren't, you and I were using BlackBerries at the time when that whole mess came up. And the backlash here was the same thing with Apple. Well, if you hand them the keys, if you give them access to the servers, they're going to have access to everybody globally.
Everybody. Yep.
And
which is what they did with Canada.
Yeah, they've done it with the world. That one encryption key covers every.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, they gave Canada the key to the world. Now, granted, we don't want Pakistan to have it, but why should anybody have it?
Yeah, But then to turn around and say, well, we did not give Pakistan access when you really did. They
Right.
really did. Granted, they limited it to every motherfucker in Pakistan, which is a lot of motherfuckers.
Right.
They limited it just to Pakistan. But it was running on BlackBerry's infrastructure, and
Right.
they gave the government of Pakistan full access to every bit of it. And India came back and asked for the same thing, you remember?
Yep.
Oh, well, BlackBerry, they're done. Their
Yeah.
history. Even their
So-
services now are, they were thinking of transitioning purely getting out of hardware, just go into a services company. Even that's going to be dead in the water now. No one's ever going to trust this company again.
How much press is that getting? I mean, I
Yeah,
know we know
probably.
about it, but we read geek stuff.
Yeah, honestly, probably very little.
Yeah. I mean, I don't
What I
care. Like,
will
I mean, I don't wish them harm. Like, they're dying on their own. Like, I mean, I think they're dying
Oh.
without anybody even hearing about this.
Oh yeah, they've done a
They're-
great job killing themselves.
You know, I mean, it might take longer to die and cost them more money.
Well,
You know, if people don't know about this.
Yeah, you and I both know when they started to die. It was when who were the two idiots that used to run the thing? Jim Basili
Yep.
and the other one, the fat one. All right, it was
Yeah.
Jim and the fat guy. We'll call him that.
Right.
When the iPhone had been on the market for 2 years, and Jim Basili, their chief financial officer, went on the news and said, "Oh, I've never even used an iPhone." That was when BlackBerry started their rapid decline.
But they
Because
really jumped the shark when they rushed to market with that touchscreen thing they
Yeah,
had.
the
Remember that
Storm.
thing?
I loved the Storm.
I have
really
one.
did. Yeah,
I have,
have
well, it's cursed,
yeah,
but
I have a Storm and a Storm 2.
yeah,
I really liked them. They're useless to me though without BIS.
yeah.
You have to have BIS to use them. But I liked them. I loved using Blackberries. I thought
But you know,
they were
me
good
too. Oh,
devices.
you know, we loved them. But that's when they jumped the shark, was when they rushed to market with that thing.
Yep.
And it
Yeah.
wasn't ready. It was just a clusterfuck. It
Oh,
was
it was a
horrible.
disaster.
That
Yeah, it
was
a
the end. That
disaster.
was the beginning of the end.
I liked it so much, but it was such a shitty phone.
Death spiral. It was a fantastic idea, but
Yeah.
again, they rushed to market with it.
Yeah,
And they just weren't ready.
terrible,
Like, I mean, the thing, it was just falling apart. Like, it was awful.
and this was after basically denying the existence of the iPhone.
Right.
Watching Androids get started in the market, and they sat back on their laurels thinking people are always going to use Blackberries
because
Yeah,
we're
not
so
much,
safe.
fellas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it took them until it was wasn't the BlackBerry Pearl the first BlackBerry to come with a camera?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, because they always said you shouldn't have phones on. We shouldn't have
On the
cameras
work
on
sites.
phones.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because of
it's
security
insecure.
issues.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
insecure. They
Yep.
said, and so they released the BlackBerry Pearl with a camera. I loved the Pearl. Thought it was
Yeah.
great. I
I
had the
loved
flip
all of
phone version. I had the flip phone version of the Pearl.
Yep.
You had a flip phone version of a Pearl. It wasn't
did.
called the Pearl. What was yours? It was that pebble shaped looking thing.
Yeah.
And it had the tiny little full QWERTY
Yeah.
keyboard at the
Yeah.
bottom.
I don't remember what it was
it
called.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
They made some great devices, but they were so far behind the curve on everything. After
Yeah.
the iPhone, they
It
were
was
done.
hubris, is exactly what it was. Just like you said, they figured nobody could ever touch them.
Mike Lazaridis was his name. Jim Basili and Mike
Yes.
Lazaridis.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
The two clowns that fucking ruined BlackBerry.
Mike and the fat guy. Yeah.
Yeah. They
But
could
yeah.
have kept up. They could have tried to keep up. You could have been a contender.
They could have been a contender.
But-
yes.
yep.
But they didn't recognize that I think what they really refused to
They denied
recognize
the consumer market for so long.
that, and they refused to acknowledge that they had competition in the business market with Apple, with the
Yeah,
iPhone,
That's right.
because
The
it took the
iPhone will
iPhone
never.
a while to get there.
Yep. They said the iPhone will never go anywhere in enterprise.
Yep. And then
They
when
said-
Android came on and kicked them in the nuts, they were
Yeah.
they acted
They
like
said-
they had no idea there was anybody
They
else
said
out there.
Yep. They said the consumer market wasn't important to them,
Yep.
and that the consumer market will never drive this industry. Oh, okay. Look at what happened.
Right.
They did not think the consumer market would drive the smartphone industry, whereas Apple and Google knew From day one, it would.
All along.
Now look
yeah.
at Android, by the way. Look at before the iPhone came out, the very first Android phone was in development. And do you remember seeing it? I'll send you. I'll try to pull up a picture, but it looked like a BlackBerry. It had a key. It had no touch screen. It had
What was it? Do you remember? I'll Google it.
It was let's see, Android prototype.
First Android phone. Oh my goodness.
Did you see it?
T-Mobile G1, aka the HTC Dream.
No, it was before that. The G1 was the first Android device on the market. It was prior to that. Do a Google search for Android prototype and then go to images and look at that white phone with the QWERTY keyboard. That was the development device for Android. That's the phone that was planned to be their first Android device on the market. And it was a copy of every other smartphone on the market at the time, the BlackBerry, the Trio.
Yes. Oh my word, yes.
Yeah. Well, then the iPhone came out in 2007, and Google were watching this, and they scrapped Android completely and went on to develop the T-Mobile G1 instead with a touch screen. They still wanted to put a keyboard in there, so they did that touchscreen slider thing.
Yes.
But had the iPhone not come out in 2007, that's what an Android device was going to be. That's what Android was going to launch as, that HTC device there.
Oh, funny.
Which looks like the HTC Dash. Remember the T-Mobile Dash?
Yes.
Yeah, which I love. I had a couple of those. They were fantastic little phones. But yeah, that's what Android was supposed to be. And then the iPhone turned the world upside down.
Yeah, it did.
But BlackBerry, instead of shifting gears the way Google did with Android and developing a consumer touchscreen device,
dug in their heels.
BlackBerry doubled down. They said no, and all the way through 2011, from 2007 to 2011, BlackBerry were still saying the consumer is not our focus. We are not concerned about the consumer. How ridiculous is that?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they denied the largest segment of the market, and that was it. Then they pivoted. They tried to make some ground with the touchscreen devices, the Storm and the Storm 2. Unmitigated disasters.
Horrible.
Even though I liked them.
We liked a good disaster phone. We were forever hacking our phones so bad that they forgot who they were.
Mm-hmm.
That was often our goal with a good hack.
Oh, yeah. I had Lazarus Berry. Remember Lazarus Berry?
Yes.
Spent its life at the bottom of a swimming pool. And I rebuilt the whole thing from scratch. I even ordered a new housing for it from Vodafone in the UK, just so it would look like a Vodafone phone. I still have that fucking Lazarus Berry. You named that phone, by the way.
Yes, I do recall that.
How long it took us to bring that back to life?
Yes. Oh my God. We prayed over that thing. I remember I laid hands on it. Remember?
Oh yeah. Well, we had it hooked up to your laptop, trying to hack in a new operating system to get it up and running.
Weeks. It took forever. There's no reason that ever came back.
Yeah, it should never have come back to life.
That ever came back.
Yeah, should never have come back to life.
No.
Then
there was
now I miss my Blackberries.
The operating system you put on my Pearl that had the big red letters.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That I was driving back from my sister's house at the lake, and it just forgot who it was and started smoking in my pocket.
Yeah, the big red warning.
Yeah. Then we went back and found it, and Keith is like, "What do those red letters say?" We're like, "Oh, I don't know. We didn't read that."
Yeah, I didn't read that. And it was along the lines of, "Do not at all costs do this.
Do not load this onto a BlackBerry Pearl." Is pretty much what it said.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Poor old BlackBerry. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. I kind of miss it.
Well, you know what? We're at the end of the show here.
Oh my gosh.
That was a nice little trip down memory lane.
It sure was.
R.I.P. BlackBerry.
R.I.P. BlackBerry.
I do believe they're done. Oh well. You know what? For people that didn't have a whole lot to talk about tonight, we ended up, I think, having a good conversation here.
We talked a lot.
Yeah, some good issues.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you and I obviously will be back next week.
Yes.
Tune in for the morning show at 7 tomorrow, and the world according to Mike tomorrow at tomorrow at 7 p.m. Morning show in the morning, obviously. World according to Mike, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. The Rough Edge with Jacob and Tulsa is Thursdays. Monday night is Latest Talk. And don't forget the debate this Saturday. If you're coming out, come on out, come see us. 5:30 at the VFW on, I think, Main Street. I can't be certain.
Is there going to be
will also go ahead.
Any kind of streaming of the debate?
From what I understand, the media will be there, so it's possible it'll be at least recorded. I'm not sure.
Okay.
And I imagine Scott will go around and film and stream some of it like a live Facebook thing.
Okay,
I'll
cool.
talk to him about that because we should.
Yeah, you
or
totally
we should.
should.
We should maybe have Mike live streaming instead of embarrassing us asking stupid questions. Yeah.
Mean. It's past his bedtime. You know he's not up now, so that's behind his back.
He's passed out drunk or high on cocaine or something by now.
Dude.
Also, by the way, Saturday I will be at the Georgia Police Memorial Ride. It starts at the Atlanta Expo. It ends at the Atlanta Expo. We drive all through downtown, and we actually get to drive through Piedmont Park. They closed down the park for us to let our parade go through. I'll be riding with the Rockdale County Sheriff. Oh, not the sheriff, but with the sheriff's office. I'll be in one of their cars. Hopefully they'll let me drive
riding
it.
in a cop car.
Yeah, we do it. Jenny does it every year. It's to benefit the families of fallen deputies and fallen police officers.
That's awesome. That's a great cause.
Yeah. The Mahafis hopefully the Mahafis will be out there with us. I think Terry will be riding. He usually rides in the motorcycle part of it. Cindy's been under the weather. I won't go any further. Hopefully, I hope she'll be there. We'll see. And then we have to rush back so I can get changed and ready for the debate because I don't want to go there looking like a hobo.
Right, no.
So, so we hope to be back in Conyers around between 3 and 4, I guess, which will give me time to get over for the debate. Danny, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it. Carry on the show again.
It was a pleasure as always.
Yeah, it was fun tonight and some good conversations. I'm gonna watch this Textilizer like a hawk.
Yeah. I'm going to do some research and see what I can find out about
implied consent.
Well, yeah, about this whole searching phones and accidents, and because there's got to be stuff out there about it.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get my lawyer friends to call in, either Rob or Rebecca, get them to call in and have a discussion about this as well and how they see it relating to implied consent, whether it could all tie in together. All right, so that'll be next week. Thank you everybody for watching on YouTube. We appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up or whatever it is. Thank you everybody listening on the radio, on the app. We appreciate that too. Obviously, you're the bread and butter. Catch me, Xander Mack, on all the things, Tech Danielle on all of the things.
Yes.
And until next week, have a lovely weekend. And what?
Tech Talk out.
There you go. That's funny. All right, let's press auto there. Let me delete this last segment. All right, Danny, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yes, Al, thank you. It was fun. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, talk to you later. Love you. Bye.
Love you.
And everybody watching on YouTube, we sure do appreciate it. Thank you. We will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, YouTubes.